Welcome all to the channel. My name is Nate the Lawyer. I'm happy to see everybody here. It is a wonderful Memorial Day weekend, and I am glad to see so many people here in the chat. What's going on, everybody? Is everybody excited for the day? So, yes, we have more Depp and Heard. Um, Seems like there's like this nice little weekend lull where we didn't have to because I'm deaf. Why are you deaf? Yeah, I don't know. People are just throwing out crazy stuff. Hey, everybody. Julius is Aquaman. That's hilarious. All right. So today we have a special event going on. Now, I want to make it very clear to everyone. I love doing these type of videos. My volume's a little low. I'll turn it up. All right, here we go. Better, right? Check the mic. Check the mic. Mic volume better? Let me look at StreamYards to make sure StreamYards has got me. Yep, right one. It does look a little low. That might pop a little bit. Let me make sure. Automatically adjust. All right, that should be better. Let me know if that's better for the chat. Better. 5 by 5. All right. We're working it out. Boom. Volume is much better now. Thank you. See, StreamYard always messing it up. So, if you guys have never done one of these things with me, you're in for a treat. So, what we're going to do today, so everyone knows right off the bat, we are going to play jurors today. So, what we're going to do is we're going to listen to the closing arguments. We're not listening to the whole thing, just highlights of the closing arguments. We're going to watch and I'm going to react to them. Then we're going to go over the verdict forms, the jury instructions, and fill out the verdict forms. We're going to do this as a poll. So each one of you, I'm going to put a link in the chat. This is a snap poll, and we're going to fill out the verdict. You, not we. You are going to fill out the verdict form individually, and we're going to see if Depp has won public opinion. But since this is not just 7 people in the room, we have what? How many people we have? We're going to have maybe thousands of people, or right now about 600-700 people. That's moving up. So what we're going to do is, if we get, and I was thinking 90%, all right, so on any question that how the jury has to be unanimous, I don't think that's going to happen here, but I think getting 90% of the public to agree to something is very close to unanimous. We were trying to struggling whether it should be 80% or 90%, so I'm thinking 90%. So for Johnny to win our online juror poll, we're going to have 90% on each question, and we're going to look at Amber's claims, and we're going to vote on Amber's claims. And for her to win, it's got to be 90% on each question instead of being unanimous. So first, let me show you the verdict form for the jury. So let me pull that up first so we can see what we're talking about. Now, we're going to be filling out this form, but again, it's going to be another link. We're going to be a link to a Google form that you're going to fill out. And again, you're all going to be able to fill it out and see the results. So here is the verdict form from the court. This is actually from the Depp Heard case, a special verdict form. Mr. Depp's claims about against Ms. Heard, and they lay it all out here. We're going to read through all this when it comes to that time and see who wins. And then you have Amber Heard's claims against Depp. She has 3 claims that we'll go through. Now, each one are a little different, but you'll get the gist of it. And if we find either Amber Heard liable or Johnny Depp liable, then we'll talk about damages to see who should win. But first, we have to talk about liability. All right. So hopefully we are all here at the same thing. But I got to kind of give you some rules of the game, right? Rule number 1, no outside knowledge. I know this is going to be difficult because all the knowledge of everybody's outside knowledge, but it's going to be tough. That's going to be tough. So try not to use, like, for instance, one of the things that you shouldn't consider, right? So this is the buddy system. You got to do. One of the things you cannot consider is Amber Heard was arrested previously for domestic violence. Why? Because that's specifically excluded from the case. These jurors can't consider that. So think about, if there's a piece of evidence out there that's really got you like, I believe this and I believe that's why she's lying, you should consider whether it's been put in front of the jury. The arrest has not. So if that arrest has convinced you, then you have to reevaluate your position. So it may be a little tough doing it that way, but try not to use any outside knowledge when doing this. Some of the people are saying unanimous is 100%, but this is online. You're going to have trolls. You're going to have bots. People are going to vote. When you get one vote, it's not unanimous, right? If we got 1,000 people. So if you was only 7 people, yeah, it was 100%. But I think 90 is a reasonable extrapolation. Actually, I think maybe 75, but we're doing 90 just to be fair. Someone else said you're correct, but we're doing 90%, not unanimous. Yes. So that's where we're at. So we all know the rules. We all know the game. First, now, it would be really, really bad for me just to have you guys just fill out verdict forms and not at least hear the pitch from each one of the attorneys, right? Because we can't watch the whole 6-week trial, but we can hear closing arguments. Now, one thing I do want to mention to everybody here, closing arguments. Closing arguments is unique in law. A lot of people think that when you go into court, especially a trial, one of the first things that you actually write is really your summation, your closing. And why? Because your closing argument is a roadmap to the end, right? These are the things that I want to prove out. These are the things, these are how I'm going to hit all the elements. These are all the elements, on all the evidence I want to put forward. And during the trial, you'll massage that with, new facts and new evidence that you have or new things that have happened, and you'll massage that. But really at the beginning, your summation is essentially your roadmap to how you get to the end. So that is what summation is. And your opening statement, which you've heard at the beginning of the trial, is more or less promises. That's when you'll hear the attorneys say, the evidence will show, right? That's different than closing. Closing is you got all the evidence, and this is what we believe it has proven. So we're going to look at their closing statements. Again, it's not going to be the hours-long thing. We're going to look at 15 minutes from Johnny and 15 minutes from Amber. I'm going to do commentary on them. Then we go into the verdict forms, and you guys will start answering those questions. And let's see if you guys are convinced by either side. So let's start with Johnny Depp's team and their closing. So this is going to be Johnny Depp's team closing. We're going to have, again, these are just highlights. So this is Camille Vasquez and Ben Chu. Hopefully you guys are ready. And for all, really quickly, super chat policy is all super chats are going to be displayed on the screen. Super chats will be read, but not all may be read. So just be aware of that. I'll try to get to as many as possible while on stream. I generally get to them all. If I don't, or if I can't get to your super chat, and if you're dead set on me reading it here on screen, and if I don't get to it, it's going to make you upset, please don't give it. But I'll try to answer any questions or whatever I can. Now, if you do have a question, you don't have to, as you guys know, and sometimes it's to my detriment. I'll answer questions even without super chats, because I kind of like just having people. You don't have to super chat me for a question, and I do it all the time. So hopefully, for those of you who don't, you can still be a part of this. And if you do super chat, that obviously helps a lot, but it's not required at all. I love you guys, and thank you. Even if you can do it, fine. If you can't, it's no problem at all. Let me get a couple of these questions that have popped up. But I definitely don't want people to think that they have to super chat to ask me a question. That is absolutely not the case. I've been doing this for 2 years, and most of the time, most of the questions I ask were never about super chats. So I just want to make very clear, that's definitely not the case. And the reason why I'm bringing that up, because some people that asked early, someone had asked, well, a couple of people had asked earlier if that was the case, if we were only doing that for you. And I'm like, no. Just watch my last live stream. Most of the questions I answered were not even super chats. All right, so let's get into it. Let's listen to Camille Vasquez explain to us why Johnny Depp should win. Here we go.
On May 27th, 2016, Ms. Heard walked into a courthouse in Los Angeles, California, to get a no-notice ex parte restraining order against Mr. Depp, and in doing so, ruined his life by falsely telling the world that she was a survivor of domestic abuse at the hands of Mr. Depp. Today, on May 27th, 2022, exactly 6 years later, we ask you to give Mr. Depp his life back by telling the world that Mr. Depp is not the abuser Ms. Heard said he is, and hold Ms. Heard accountable for her lies. Now it's time for you, the jury, to come to a decision. You have been entrusted with a serious task. What is at stake in this trial is a man's good name. Even more than that, What is at stake at this trial is a man's life. The life that he lost when he was accused of a heinous crime, and the life he could live when he is finally vindicated.
So I want to stop here because I think Camille Vasquez is doing a nice table setting here, right? She's letting you know this is what this case is about, and this is what we have proven, and the effects on Johnny Depp's career. Because don't forget, this is a defamation case, so she's got to prove up defamation. Now you do that by showing all the other bad stuff, but at the end of the day, this is a defamation case. Let's let Camille finish.
Exactly 6 years ago today, on May 27th, 2016, Ms. Heard walked into court and filed a false report of domestic abuse against her husband of 15 months, Johnny Depp. The scene was a setup. She tipped off the paparazzi so they would be waiting. They knew exactly where she would pause, which side of her face to photograph. And the photos captured what she wanted them to see, the image of a battered woman. What the paparazzi did not know is that the dark mark on her face mysteriously appeared 6 days after last seeing Mr. Depp. It was a lie. She knew it, Mr. Depp knew it, and the multiple witnesses you heard from who saw her that week of May 21st, 2016 also knew it.
Now I got to stop it here. I think this is powerful at the beginning because as a juror, again, I'm playing the role of juror too. I'm going to be voting with you guys. Now, for me as a juror, hearing that she hadn't seen Depp for 6 days. Now, and then all of a sudden goes into court with that bruise. That I didn't realize before. I don't know if many of you realized that, but I didn't realize. I didn't know there was almost a week before. So essentially, she's saying that he hit her. That she is saying, or Amber's claiming, Depp hit her 6 days before she went to go get, and that bruise was 6 days old. That bruise didn't look 6 days old to me, from what I remember. But I don't know. Again, this is, you guys are going to be making this decision. But it's wild. And so to me, it seems like it makes it even more possible that those bruises were made up because those were six days early. You hadn't seen the guy for 6 days, and all of a sudden you got a bruise a week later. That just doesn't add up. But again, Camille, you see how Camille just connected those dots for me because I didn't realize that. Now I realize it. And that's what a good lawyer does, right? That's what summation is. You put all of those things together. Lawrence says, I pledge to be impartial. Yes, Lawrence, that's a pledge you make. So we just make our own decision of abuse. Yes, there was no defined abuse. You decide what abuse is. Thank you, Bobby, for the $5. You spy HG tutor regarding Amber Heard narcissist and NPD helps lawyers. Yes, it helps us get paid. And last one, at Nate the Lawyer question: was it ever raised that Amber Heard did not have to go personally to the courtroom to file a TRO? Her legal representative could have done it. Yes, it has not been brought up, but maybe it will. That has absolutely not had up. This is the last super chat before we get out, but that's a great question. But I don't think it's been brought out. But if that's true, but again, I can't consider that because I've not remembered that from this. $20 from I'm not sure. LOL. It's Verini. LOL. It says, I find it off-putting that Amber Heard's team went from spending 6 weeks trying to prove JD was an abuser, only to switch it up on closing. 1A and Johnny Depp did prove he didn't abuse her once, proving a negative. Thoughts? Yes. I think the sexual assault is gone, and proving a negative is extremely, extremely difficult. So, but I think what he's done, and the only way Johnny Depp can win is not to prove a negative, but to prove she's a liar, right? The only way he can win is not saying I didn't do this, because there's no way you can prove you didn't do something, right? But if I prove the person is lying about everything, then you're not going to believe it. And remember, before we go, and I think you guys need to be thinking about this when we do this, right? When we do this, when you guys are thinking about this together, think about this. The standard of proof here to prove it's a lie is by preponderance of the evidence, or, and stated another way, is it more likely than not? So that's where, is it more likely than not that she's lying? If you believe it's more likely than not, versus if you believe it's less likely than not. Let's continue on with the statements, with the opening statements. Thank you for the super chat too. Secret squirrel.
The world only saw what she wanted them to see. 2 years later, when promoting the biggest role of her career until this trial, Ms. Heard presented herself to the world as a public figure representing domestic abuse. The headline of the op-ed featured the term sexual violence, even though she had never before accused her ex-husband of such a heinous crime. Ms. Heard and her lawyers love to remind you of how the op-ed did not mention Mr. Depp by name, but Ms. Heard made sure that there would be no mistake about who she was referring to. She inserted 2 years ago, so the world would remember the photo of a battered woman, the mark on her face standing outside the courthouse, and they would once again see Mr. Depp as the villain, this time in full swing of the Me Too movement. But what was happening behind closed doors was quite different from what Ms. Heard presented to the world. The exact opposite, in fact. There is an abuser in this courtroom, but it is not Mr. Depp. And there is a victim of domestic abuse in this courtroom, but it is not Ms. Heard. The evidence presented at this trial has shown that Ms. Heard is in fact the abuser, and Mr. Depp the abused.
Now, I love Camille because I think she's saying the thing that we're not supposed to say out loud, right? Amber's a liar. Ooh, we're saying that out loud? Yes, we're saying that out loud. Amber's the abuser. Ooh, we're saying that out loud. And the thing is that whenever you're trying to convince somebody of your position, what you want to do is want to lead them down the path, right? If I think about this, if I tell you something, it's going to be a little harder for you to believe it. But if I lay it out so you can come to the conclusion yourself, you're going to believe it no matter what I say. Here's an example. Spidey gives a good example. Let's say I want to convince you one of your friends has a drug problem, right? Or an alcohol problem. It's the same alcohol. I think Spidey used alcohol, so I use his because I think it's a great example. So I want to convince you your friend has a drinking problem, right? So if I tell you, hey, your best friend, that person's got a drinking problem. The first thing generally people would do is say, nah, the guy likes to drink a lot. He drinks sometimes. He's got an okay, you become defensive because you're associated with that person. You want to defend the person. Somebody's making an accusation. It doesn't get me, the person who's trying to convince you of something, to where I think you need to be. So the next thing that we get is the way us lawyers try to do it is I'll present to you the evidence and hopefully you make that leap. So for instance, I'll say something like, hey, don't you notice your friend? Don't you notice your friend's been drinking a lot? Like, yeah, I know. Well, yeah, I know the guy, gal likes to have a good time. Like, how often do you have to carry them home? I do it like twice a week. How's that affect you? Yeah, man, it's tough bringing the person home every day. Hey, has the person ever been angry with when they get drunk? Yeah, all the time, right? And you keep asking them those questions. And eventually the person comes to the decision himself, like, you know what? I think my friend has a drinking problem. And it's easier when you kind of lay out the evidence and let them come to the conclusion than just telling them something. It's so much, it's more persuasive in that way. So video volume is a little low. Yeah, I know it's a little low. It's the best that they got. I'll mute myself for the video, but that's what Camille is trying to do. She's trying to give you all of that evidence and let you come to that conclusion that this is, this Amber Heard story is just bull. And I think she's doing an excellent job. This is so cool, Nate. Thank you. Thank you for this. I'm thanking for the super chat. Nate, you're so awesome, Nate. Been following you since the beginning, and I appreciate all you do. Oh, thank you, Evie. I definitely appreciate it. And James says, Nate the lawyer, do you believe that the evidence fully supports Johnny Depp's claims? No, I'm not going to answer that question, James, because if I answer that question, it may force people here to think that I'm for one side or the other. And I want you to come to your own decision. That's why we're hearing the arguments. I'm reacting to what I'm saying, and we're going to make it. So I'm not answering that question. You come to the decision. If you've seen the evidence, you've seen the testimony, You make that call for yourself. And this is the last comment I'm going to read. Nate, are you going to defend Nancy Pelosi's husband in the DUI trial? MAGA country or whatever, whatever. No. But that may be good. What will happen if there's a hung jury? That means nobody wins. Hung jury means nobody wins. So let me go back to the video so you guys can finish hearing Camille's opening statements.
As you heard from Mr. Depp,
Closing,
multiple
sorry.
other witnesses that testified under oath at this trial, Mr. Depp experienced persistent verbal, physical, and emotional abuse by Ms. Heard during their relationship. You heard from Mr. Depp about how often Ms. Heard would berate him, insult him, and physically attack him, including one of the most serious occasions when Ms. Heard threw a vodka bottle at Mr. Depp, severely injuring his finger, and then put a cigarette out on his face. You heard from Mr. Depp that this whole incident in Australia started because Ms. Heard was enraged that Mr. Depp wanted a post-nuptial agreement, and she wasn't in his will, just a month after getting married. You also heard from Tara Roberts, a manager at Mr. Depp's island, who witnessed Ms. Heard telling Mr. Depp that he was washed up and would die fat and lonely.
So this part she's getting into is all the evidence is saying one thing, and Amber Heard is kind of saying another. And I love when she does this because she really hammers home the fact that the evidence seems to be on one side, and we'll see how the other side addresses it. But that's what she's saying. There's a mountain of evidence on this side and all these people, but the other side doesn't get it.
You also heard from Ms. Roberts that she witnessed Ms. Heard clawing and grabbing at Mr. Depp, grabbing his hair, trying to pull him back to her. And Mr. Depp had a visible injury to his nose on that occasion. Most importantly, you heard from Ms. Heard yourselves on multiple audio recordings admitting to being physically violent with Mr. Depp. What you didn't hear on a single recording you heard in this case, and there were many played by both parties, is Mr. Depp ever admitting to hitting, punching, or kicking Ms. Heard. You didn't hear it.
Now, I think that's a powerful video. I think that's a powerful piece because I'm thinking back to it now. Have we ever heard audio of Johnny Depp saying that he hit Amber Heard? I don't remember ever hearing that audio. I've heard the audio of her saying it, but I've never heard the audio of him saying it. And I think that was nice. It was a nice touch because it made me think about the evidence again. Like, did he ever say it? I don't remember him saying it. Maybe somebody in the chat maybe remembered him saying it, but that's interesting. Your video's quiet because of the site. Sorry, I'll mute and play and continue to play it out.
It doesn't exist. It didn't happen. And despite the fact that Mr. Depp and Ms. Heard are heard discussing many of the alleged incidents you've heard about at this trial, like Australia and the Bahamas, you never heard Ms. Heard accuse Mr. Depp of sexual assault. Unlike Mr. Depp, who you heard admit to and own up to his past mistakes and his struggles, particularly with drugs and alcohol, Ms. Heard will not admit that she has ever done anything wrong. But she cannot deny what you heard on those recordings. As much
Now this is something that we've all been saying for a while. All the attorneys who've been watching this trial, we've always been saying that she's put herself in this position. And again, these are my thoughts. I don't know if these are your thoughts, but these are my thoughts. Please tell me if I'm wrong in the chat. Whenever you get into something like this, and someone is saying, this horrible thing happened, but they've put themselves in a position where they're the danger, right? Amber, in everything she says, she's done absolutely no wrong, right? She's pure, she's innocent. She did some coke, but didn't do it ever again. She did a couple of mushrooms, got sick, and swore it all off. Everything is, she's perfect, she's innocent, she's clean, she's pure. And she's contrasting that narrative with the narrative of Johnny Depp. Drug addicted, this, has issues, but he's not the abuser. So on one side, you have someone saying, hey, I'm a regular guy, I've done regular things. I'm not perfect, but I didn't do this. And the other side is saying, I'm perfect. And on top of that, he did this to me. So I think that difference is very, I think it's powerful, and it's powerful to illuminate. I think that's what she's doing. I think she's doing it well.
much as Ms. Heard and her lawyers have tried to make this case Mr. Depp's language. It is Ms. Heard that repeatedly admits to violence. When you catch Ms. Heard in a lie, she tries to cover it up with more lies. So let's talk about the giant lie at the heart of this case. Ms. Heard's claim that Mr. Depp is an abusive monster and that she is a public figure representing domestic abuse. She spun a story of shocking, overwhelming, brutal abuse. She came into this courtroom prepared to give the performance of her life, and she gave it. Ms. Heard's acting coach, Christina Sexton, testified that Ms. Heard has difficulty crying when she is acting. You saw it. Ms. Heard sobbing without tears.
That's good. Yo, that was good. When I first heard it, it was good. That's good. That's good. Woo! Her acting coach says she got a problem acting. She can't do tears, and you saw it right here. That's good. That's good. This is good lawyering, people. This is good advocacy. Yeah. I would number one, please. If you ever have a case against Camille, you're in trouble. Because that was brilliant right there. Yeah, and even Anthony's like, that's powerful. Let me get this $20 super chat. Nate, what you described, how Spidey put bringing someone to a conclusion you want them to believe is a concept. Yeah, gap settling. Exactly. Yeah. I do it for a living, though in terms of sales, but the same concept. You're selling stuff. Yes. Billy. Yes. Oh, but we call it gap settling but gap selling. I like it. Awesome. thanks for the super chat. I appreciate it. Let me go. Let's go back to hear Camille finish off Amber Heard.
While spinning elaborate, exaggerated, fantastical accounts of abuse and everything going on in her mind almost a decade prior while enduring that abuse. It was a performance. What we have is a mountain of unproven allegations that are wild, over the top, and implausible. And you can't pick and choose which of these wild allegations to believe and which ones to disregard. You either believe all of it or none of it. Either Mr. Depp sexually assaulted Ms. Heard with a bottle in Australia, or Ms. Heard got up on that stand in front of all of you and made up that horrific tale of abuse. Either she's a
Now I got to stop it right here because I think one of the shining moments in the cross-examination for me, and it was now we have to understand the game that's being played here, right? We can't let anybody, even Camille, who I love, we can't let her pull the wool over our eyes. Camille is trying to, what I like to call, put the issue in a box, and both the baby and the bathwater are thrown out if you don't believe anything. So Camille is saying, which I think is astute in this position, and I think we're all thinking that, well, if she lied about X, then we can't believe her about A, B, C, D, and E, right? We can't believe her about anything else if she lied about X. And she's saying because X was so bad, right? X is lying about sexual assault, if that's what she lied about, then we can't believe anything else she says. And she's made it so where, again, because this is a he said, she said case, she's now put it where you can't believe anything this woman says. And think about it. Think about it. She's saying that she can't be telling the truth about anything. Now we know, now we have to be fair. Everything she said wasn't a lie. Right? It's impossible. Even if you try to lie about every single thing, it's almost impossible to lie about every single thing. There's going to be some kernels of truth in it. But I think you don't go into that nuance, right? You just say, if she's lying about this, she's lying about everything. And I think as jurors, it's the boy who cried wolf scenario, right? If you're lying. And now we can't believe anything, right? So I think that's where Camille's going. And I think she put it in a nice bow to say, hey, if you're going to lie about something so crazy like this, you're going to be lying about everything. Let's get back to Camille's quote. Camille
is a victim of truly horrific abuse, or she is a woman who is willing to say absolutely anything. But this case doesn't come down to whether you believe Ms. Heard or you believe Mr. Depp. This case comes down to whether you believe Ms. Heard or you believe Mr. Depp, Christy Dombrowski, Sean Bett, Malcolm Connolly, Travis McGivern, Starling Jenkins, Keenan Wyatt, Dr. Kipper, nurses Debbie Lloyd and Erin Filati, Tara Roberts, Ben King, Kate James, Kate Moss, Dr. Colber, Morgan Knight, Morgan Tremaine, Officers Melissa Sines, Officers Tyler Haddon, Officer William Gatlin, and Beverly Leonard. What Ms. Heard testified to in this courtroom is the story of far too many women.
Now, I want to stop it here for a second. This is another powerful, powerful piece for this closing, right? She's now taking it, and I think it's really powerful. Now, for those of you who watch my channel, Camille has used the argument that I've been telling you about since like week 2, right? For those of you who watch my channel, you guys have got to at least give me this credit. I got to find the clip. This is exactly what I said she should do. Change it from he said, she said, to no. It's not about what she said and what Johnny said. It's what she said versus what everybody else says. Those are my exact words. I've said it on Legal Bites. I've said it on Vikeda. I've said it on every channel who would hear me say it. And lo and behold, in closing, we get the argument. It's not about Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp. It's about Amber Heard versus everybody else. Powerful stuff. Powerful stuff. And again, like I said, we've been saying this because it was obvious that's the way to go, right? And we've been saying this since day 1 of the trial. It's Amber Heard versus everyone else. Not Amber Heard versus Johnny Depp. You'll hear a lot of people saying, they were both bad to each other with this. But Amber Heard versus everybody else is like, there's a lot. That's a lot of people that's got to be lying. It's a lot of people that's got to be lying. Nate the lawyer. If the original TRO allegations is false, all that stems from it is fruit of the poisonous tree. No, yes, but you'd have a perjury issue, right? You sign those sworn statements for TROs under penalty of perjury, right? This happened to me. That's false. She's committed perjury. That's the issue. That's the issue she's got to deal with. Great. Thanks for the question. Nate the lawyer, are your family the false in uno, fallaces in uno, fallaces in omnibus? I'm not sure. Are you familiar with? No, I am not. I know what an omnibus motion is, but I'm sorry. I'm not sure what the Latin. Lindsay says, Nate the lawyer, DUI and Runku both said at least one juror seems to be on team AH. What happens if the juror can't come to a decision? Nobody wins, and we can do it again. They can refile the case and do it again, which I would suspect they would do. I'm suspect we would go for round 2, which would be great for you for LawTube, because everybody loves this trial. So yeah. Does the verdict have to be unanimous? Yes. Otherwise, it's hung. Yes. If one juror votes opposing and the other 6, does that make there no verdict? Yes. Yes, it has to be unanimous. Yes, that would mean there's no verdict. Do jurors get transcripts? Yes. Videos of closing? No. Do they have to rely on their own notes? They do rely on their own notes, but they do have evidence and all the exhibits and all that stuff that's been exhibited. They have all the materials. They have the videos and all that stuff that's been shown at trial, that's been admitted. They have all that back there. And they could get parts of the trial read back to them. So they can say, hey, what did Amber say this part? You'll hear that piece, those pieces will be read back to them. This woman is a used car salesman's worst nightmare. And last one before we get back to the closing, anyone believe Amber going to pay him if she loses, or will she pledge the money? Yeah, she's gonna pledge it again, baby. The only crumble of truth is that JD Johnny Depp did contacted studio execs. Yeah, he did contact studio execs. I know that was like an issue for him with the damages, but I don't think we get there with Amber. But again, let me not jump the gun. We're gonna go right back into this, and we're gonna go right back into this right now, so we can we're gonna go right back into the video so we can continue to hear the closing, and we're gonna go through this. And for those of you, there's a lot of people asking, when do we vote? We're gonna hear the closing arguments first. We gotta hear them out first, and then we're going to go through it and we're going to be voting. So we're going to be voting really, really soon, but we got to hear them out first because it would be unfair for me just to play Johnny Depp's side and say vote. We're going to hear both sides, and those people may be annoyed at that. But we're going to play both sides. So here we go. Continuing on with Depp's team, I'm going to do a lot less talking and a little.
But the overwhelming evidence, weight of that evidence shows that it's not her story. It's not Ms. Heard's story. It was an act of profound cruelty, not just to Mr. Depp, but to true survivors of domestic abuse. For Ms. Heard to hold herself out as a public figure representing domestic abuse. It was false, it was defamatory, and it caused irreparable harm. And to talk more about that, I'm going to turn it over to my colleague and my friend, Mr. Chu.
As Ms. Vasquez said, you have now come to know the real Amber Heard.
We're starting off hot already. You have known the real Amber Heard. Here's my buddy, my brother-in-law, Law and Lumber. What's going on, brother?
How's it going? How's the mic?
The mic is a little hot, but don't worry, I got you. I mean, I forget StreamYard. They got to do something with this mic stuff. They want to keep using it. Go ahead, speak.
That's why I come in asking the question of how's the mic.
It is good now. How you doing?
Good. How are you, buddy?
I'm just chilling. I finished off one of my case that I had. I'm just so happy it's done. So now I get to focus in on Johnny Depp and Amber Heard and figure out what's happening here. What's happening here? So
What's happening is a lot. A lot is happening.
So just so you know where you've jumped into. So what we're doing is we're listening to closing statements from both sides, and then we're going to go over the jury verdict form, and then we're going to allow everybody to vote. And while we go over the questions, and people we're going to vote and determine who's going to win the case. I got a yelling, my baby's yelling in the background. So after we do that, after we do the verdict to see who we believe is going to win, the margins are going to be 90% because I don't think we can get unanimity online. That's just not possible. So we're thinking about 80 or 90. So 90% is the number. So we're going to take votes, and I have a poll and stuff ready. And then if we get 90% approval on all of the elements, then the chat will have said, so either Amber wins or Johnny wins, and so forth and so forth. So that's the way we're going to do it. Are you ready?
Yeah. Oh, I'm ready for it. Have you seen me? I'm back in the corner over there somewhere. Yeah. I'm ready for this one. I've watched this closing 9 million times. I love it.
Oh yeah, this is so good. Here we go. Benchu.
Scary. We also told you at the start of this trial that you were going to come to know the real Johnny Depp, not the many characters you've seen him play so wonderfully in the movies, but the man himself. We kept that promise. You've met the real Johnny Depp. Before Amber Heard, ladies and gentlemen, no woman ever before Amber Heard ever claimed that Mr. Depp raised a hand to her in his 58 years.
Now, what do you think? I think that's powerful because it shows that he doesn't have a history with anyone else of this. What do you think about that, Rob?
I mean, it's one of those things. It's why these prior acts are kind of kept out, because it doesn't really mean a whole lot. Yes, it's powerful on an emotional level. It really is, and it conveys a lot. But just because someone hasn't done anything in the past doesn't mean they didn't do it now. I think it's very well written. It is very well delivered, and it carries a lot of weight to it. But it's one of those things. So I don't know. It's how the jury perceives it in that moment.
Let me edit my mic settings because I think my mic is coming in hot now. StreamYard. All right, so my mic settings are edited now. They got to fix this. This is get ridiculous with StreamYard. All right, so yeah, no, I agree with your point 200%. Let's finish on Ben Shu. I think we got another 2 minutes of this.
And no other woman since Ms. Heard made that false claim back on May 27th, 2016, and repeated it in her December 2018 op-ed, Has any woman come forward since? This is Me Too without any Me Too. To the contrary, ladies and gentlemen, you heard Kate Moss 2 days ago testify. This is a woman who has never testified in any proceeding ever, a very private person, testified that Mr. Depp never abused her and that Ms. Heard lied to you. And she lied to you twice. Beyond the personal and emotional effects of Ms. Heard's lies, their impact on Mr. Depp and his family, the damage she inflicted on his reputation and career is undeniable. There's an old saying that a good reputation takes a lifetime to build, but only a second to destroy. Mr. Depp spent, in fact, a lifetime building his reputation as one of the greatest actors and movie stars of his generation, an iconic figure respected and liked throughout Hollywood and recognized and admired throughout the world. As you've heard in this case, Amber Heard is not a true victim, and Mr. Depp certainly is not an abuser. Again, nobody has come out of the woodwork to say Me Too. This
is the volume
a
from the trial,
unique
guys.
and singular Me Too case where there's not a single Me Too. While Mr. Depp's name will be forever tarnished by these horrendous and false allegations, this case is about telling you his story and the truth about what really happened, which you've now heard. It is about restoring his lost reputation. It's about showing Mr. Depp's children, Lily Rose and Jack, that the truth is worth fighting for. It is. And it's about restoring Mr. Depp's name and standing in the community to the fullest extent that you can. And you can do something. And only you, ladies and gentlemen, can do that for him. You heard from Mr. Depp yesterday that he has been carrying these outlandish, outrageous stories on his back, pretty stoically, and living them with them for 6 years and waiting to be able to bring his truth out. And he has told you the truth, the unvarnished truth, even truth that pretty embarrassing. He knew that was going to happen when he brought this case. You've seen the evidence in this case over 6 long weeks, which we again thank you for. That evidence shows overwhelmingly that Ms. Heard's attempt to paint herself as a heroic survivor, an innocent survivor, and Mr. Depp as a terrifying abuser are utterly false. We ask you to please return your verdict for Mr. Depp. We ask you, we implore you to give him his name, his reputation, and his career back. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
So, Rob, what'd you think?
So
those
there
were
were
just
some.
pieces of it. Hold on, let me get your volume one more time. Boy, this is just like it's crazy. All right, so I'm putting you at 40 at 35 because I was at 45. All right, go ahead, try it again.
All right. So one of the things that he did here that the video doesn't show, that's actually really cool. And honestly, it's something that prosecutors usually do in criminal cases. He points, and you don't see it on the video very much. Ben Chu, during this exchange, when he walks through this, when he starts to get emotional, he looks back at Johnny Depp and he points at him and he says, this man, this man, this man, over and over again. And it was really effective because it takes the jury, and it's when he's starting to get emotional, it takes the jury and takes that emotion and forces the jury to convey that emotion on the person he's representing. It was really effective. I mean, Ben Chu did a great job here, and so did Camille Vasquez in that closing. They were both terrific. They had very different styles. And Camille Vasquez, they were both podium speakers, and it was about the words that they were using and how they relayed them. And you're about to see, I think Nate's going to play it, but you're about to see a very different style close from Ben Rottenborn. And neither one of them, I'm not going to put either one of these styles above the other. They're very different, but you're about to see a very different style. And you guys can judge how you kind of want.
All right. So we're going to see highlights from this second piece. Let me talk down a couple of these super chats. And then right after that, we're going into the verdict form. So be prepared to vote. Start getting your reasons why, because we're going to have a conversation. We're going to be I'm going to be challenging people about why they've come to certain decisions. So we're almost there. We're just going to listen to the other side first, and then we're going to jump right into it. First, we got Ash Ellie Oop says, really appreciate your perspective and analysis. Have enjoyed your contribution on Legal Bites and I'm happy to have found your channel. Oh, thank you, Alley Oop. I appreciate it. Thank you for that other super chat. Isabel Jimenez says, please clarify, why did JD wait 2 years to sue the son rather than sue Amber immediately? I am not sure. I just don't know. He sued the son in 20. When did he sue the son? He sued the son in what?
2020, I thought. December 2020, because that's when the damages were tagged. And I honestly think he was probably waiting to see if he could get to Amber through the son. I think he realized he couldn't get to Amber through the son.
Yeah, I think you're right there, because I know he would have been time barred for 2 years, because I think Virginia's 2 years, so he made it under that time frame. So, and also I want to also say the son's lawsuit was different, because a lot of people fail to realize that he was suing the son and not Amber. Amber was involved in the case, but she wasn't one of the principals, so it was harder to get all this evidence that he can get in for this trial. You should try OBS or Stream Labs. Yeah, I'm doing StreamYards, but I'm probably going to be switching soon, because this is starting to get ridiculous. If she has a mental illness, can she still be in trouble for her lie on sworn statements for court? Yes, whenever you start lying, you can get in trouble for sworn statements in court. It's called perjury. Thrilled that Rob from Lord Lumberjoy did. Boom. The bed video. It's funny because I love the end of the bed video with the knife. Mic drop. Boom. Like, this guy. His first YouTube video is 1 million views, man. That was so great. That was great. How long did it take you to put that video together, if I could ask?
You guys yelled at me to get off stream, I think around 8 p.m. And I filmed it at 12:30, put it together, got it edited, and posted it at 1:45 in the morning.
Oh, that was it. Number one, it doesn't seem like it's 1:45 in the morning. That is such a well-produced video, bro. I hate you now for your quick million view videos. Rob should have named his channel Hot Rob Law and Lumber.
I'm gonna stick with Law and Lumber for right now. Thank you, though.
Darla's funny. Hey Rob, what's it? Boot broken bed debunker extraordinaire. Rob, it's funny. Rob comes to the channel. More people know Rob than me. Rob, you're super popular now. Based on the law, that is what I pay lawyers for. Based on how I feel, Depp smile. That's true. I will say this. I didn't think Depp had a shot early, but I think things have turned around dramatically. Hobo Jim says it's hard for a man or a woman to get their reputation back as it relates to sexual issues. Yes, because eventually it's always going to be people who think that there's something to it. So yeah, it is. Law and Lumber, what are the VA rules for noncompliance with court rulings?
I don't think it's limited to Virginia. I think Nate can probably talk to this about as equally as I can. I mean, there are technical violations. The judge says do this, you don't do this specifically, and the judge has a question. Do I hold them to the letter of the law and punish them, or do I try to get them back on the right foot before actually laying down the law? Non-compliance is subject to any number of punishments. I think that this judge has handled it very well so far. So yeah. That's the best I can give.
And you know, there are some contempt issues and things of that nature that can happen, but essentially, you know, it's from here. People get away with a lot of stuff before you start getting, you know, well, we got to put people in jail. So that's generally the way it works. I'm going to go. Let's get back to the other side, because I've taken care of a couple of super chats. Let's get back and listen to Amber Heard's side close before we get to the big show. So here's Amber Heard's side giving their closing arguments on why Amber Heard should win both her counterclaims and why Johnny should lose his claims. Rottenborn and Elaine. Here we go. Again, these are just highlights.
Against you. A smear campaign that lasts to this very day.
Oops, let me restart it.
he will do everything. In Mr. Depp's world, you don't leave Mr. Depp. And if you do, he will start a campaign of global humiliation against you, a smear campaign that lasts every day. He will do everything he can to destroy your life, to destroy your career. That is what they're saying, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what they're trying to get you, the jury, to be an accomplice to. But it's not surprising, because Mr. Depp cannot and will not take responsibility for his own actions. It's always someone else's fault. Does the First Amendment give Ms. Heard the right to write the words that she wrote in this article on December 18th, 2018?
So what do you think about the First Amendment argument?
So for me, I thought that Rottenborn did what he had to do here. He kind of had to, he knew that on the evidence, at the close of the evidence, Johnny Depp was way ahead on points, period. And he knew at the close of the evidence, he had to bring it back down and try to get the jury to follow this bright line legal principle and go back to these first principles of speech itself under the First Amendment is protected, period, end of story. And it's on the person challenging that speech to prove that it's in a unprotected class. And that's what Ben Rottenborn does. He tries to bring them back and say, look, we start with this first thing. Everything that is said is presumed protected, and he has to prove it's defamatory. And I love his style. I love Vasquez's style here, but Rottenborn he's a litigator, and Nate can probably talk to this really well too. Look how he uses the well. He's 2 feet off of the podium. And when he walks back and forward, what he does when he keeps his arms low like this, he's moving constantly, but the hands aren't up here like Elaine, and he's going back and forth. So the jury has to keep their eyes on him. So he's got him locked as he moves from side to side, and they're following. And he does the whole magic show, like this article, and he does the snap with the paper. This is a litigator that is at the top of his class.
Yes.
And he has to put in the performance of his lifetime to beat up on the case that he's left with. Like, he's left with crap facts. I mean, Nate, you agree with that, right?
1000%. But also, I definitely agree with the whole in style, right? Camille and I think Ben Chew, he moved around a little bit. He got a little emotional. He did show a little emotion. But I think Camille and Ben Chew were kind of I'm reading a prepared statement on behalf of my client, right? Where Rottenborn he's giving a performance, right? He has now. I haven't seen his notes, but I'm assuming he's got bullet points up there. He doesn't have a written out statement, and his bullet points tell him this is where I want to go. He looks up and he goes into his spill. And one of the things that they used to tell us is that motion drives emotion. So the more you move around, the more you do, the more people have to look at you. It just makes it even less boring just to watch, right? If I'm sitting there just standing and just dictating something to you, that's different than if I'm moving around. Hey, listen, here, my arms are moving. You now have to track me. All of those physical movements drive emotion too. So it's really interesting technique wise. I would say Rottenborn's got great technique, but like Rob said, he has such horrible facts. That's the problem here. Let me get back into it.
That's the question. And you cannot simultaneously protect and uphold the First Amendment and find in favor of Johnny Depp on this claim. You simply cannot. You have to decide, should someone be able to write an article like that in the United States of America without being sued successfully, without having to go through the hell that Ms. Heard has gone through? Think about every piece of evidence that you've heard over the last 6 weeks about his abuse.
Yeah, he's got just
their relationship.
Bullet points.
None of that is in the article. None of it. We all know that it would be a very different article if she had written about what she suffered, that she's told you about over the last 6 weeks. Because he knows the words are true, Mr. Depp says that the words now have a defamatory implication. He says the statements are the same as saying, Johnny Depp abused me. But just because he wants to make the article about himself doesn't mean it is. He has to show you that any defamatory implication was designed and intended. Look at number 4, designed and intended by Ms. Heard to convey the defamatory meaning that he suggests. Just because people might read the article.
So now effective.
Yeah, I think this is classic. When you got if you have the facts, you pound the facts. If you got the law, you pound the law.
Yep.
And what is he pounding? The
Yep.
law.
And he's doing so effectively, like walking back and forth and then pointing at the jury section. He goes, look at number 4. And he turns and looks at it with them. Like he gets their eyes now off of him to that form. I mean, honestly, the facts suck for him. They really are terrible.
Mhm.
And the law is arguable and questionable. But as far as an attorney that tries to relay the law as good as you can, like this is the way you do it.
Yeah. This is definitely the way you do it.
And remember, oh yeah, Amber Heard used to be married to Johnny Depp, and she accused him of abuse. That doesn't mean that she designed and intended defamatory implications in writing about herself. And think about it. If Mr. Depp is right, then virtually any statement that anyone could ever make about their own life that implies anything, implies any involvement with any other person, could be defamatory. And that's clearly not what the First Amendment intends. She didn't design and intend the words to be the equivalent of writing Johnny Depp abused me. And you don't have to take her words for it. You can take the words of Terrence Doherty of the ACLU. He said that the op-ed wasn't even Miss Heard's idea.
Did you see
No.
Johnny perk up?
Yes. And one thing I do like is Rottenberg is trying to pull a double switch on us. You don't have to trust Amber Heard because he knows his client has some issues, right? So, hey, even if you don't trust Amber, what's on the record? Somebody else even wrote this, right? They didn't mean to write this. This is what this is about. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and look at the pause game, guys. I mean, appreciate Nate for the pause game on this one. Johnny Depp, Rottenborn scored a point. Johnny Depp has realized that Rottenborn scored a point there. And he does this a couple of times during the close. And look, when I say scored a point, I'm saying like a legal argument or a factual argument that might be weak, but it's the best argument they have. And Johnny Depp realizes that Rottenborn just hit with the ACLU comment.
Oh yeah. Let me. I want to address this quick $50 super chat. Yes, no drama zone, please. Yeah, this is a drama-free zone. I know I see some people in the chat trying to stir things up. Listen, guys.
No.
I just want to make it very clear. I am friends with Legal Bites. There are people who have been threatened to leave my channel. If it's legal, go on Legal Bites again, then leave. It's not going to happen, right? What can I say? I'm friends with Nick, DUI guy. I don't have any issue with, right? It's just, they had a little something that I don't really even think is a big deal, right? Nobody died. Nobody got killed. It was something minor. So I understand people feel a way about what happened with her, what happened with him. I'm just not getting into it, right? They're both my friends. I still consider them both cool people, and they've worked it out. I think at this point, it's disrespectful for me to keep going back to the drama when they say it's all cool, right? Why am I going to continue to go talk? And I don't think there's any place for it. If they were still beefing, then maybe I would address it. But no, they both have said it's all done. Mistakes were made and move on. So if you guys can't, there are people in the chat that can't handle that, maybe this is not the place for you. I don't know if you want to say anything about that, Rob, but that's all I'm gonna do to address it.
No, that's fine. I mean, people can pick their channels they want to pick. You guys pick your channels. That's fine. If you like what I say, you like what I say. If you like what Nate says, you like what he says. Honestly, I love working with Nate. I love working with Legal Bites. I love working with Joe, with Nick, with DUI. I got no beef with anybody. Honestly, I'm just trying to report the facts as carefully as I can in this jurisdiction because I am a practicing lawyer in this jurisdiction.
Yeah, and hey, I understand people have whatever drama they want or whatever have the films they have, but we're here to do one thing, and I'm sorry, guys, if you're looking for the drama, it's just not going to be here. So, last warning for those of you who want me to address drama, think we're going to be addressing drama. It ain't happening. So if you're here for that, maybe this may be a good time for you to leave. Let's get back to what we're doing.
The ACLU wrote the first draft, and great care was taken in drafting the article so as not to make it about Mr. Depp or Miss Heard's relationship with him. That's the only evidence presented about Miss Heard's motive, except her statements that was exactly what she wanted to do. She wanted to talk about her experiences after Johnny Depp. Miss Heard didn't write the headline. She didn't approve the headline. She had nothing to do with it. She was not given notice of the headline. She testified, you saw her testify about the sexual assault that she experienced at the hands of Mr. Depp. You saw her testify about that they're calling her a liar. You saw her on the stand testify with your own mouth, with her own mouth, exactly what she went through for the first time in court, because people who have suffered that, they don't want to broadcast that to the world. They want to penalize Ms. Heard for not speaking about that earlier. That's ridiculous, and it's insulting, and it's just victim blaming at its most disgusting.
So what do you think? What do you think about that? Victim blaming.
Hit pause, because I want to address this comment here, right here. The jurors are people too.
Mm-hmm.
Lecturing, cold, and calculating. The funny thing is, I'm in the courtroom and I'm watching this, and I will say that the jurors were 100% locked in on both parties. They were locked in on Camille, they were locked in on Ben Chu, and they were locked in on Ben Rottenborn. They gave him full attention. They were not dismissive. They didn't view his comments as cold or calculating. They were giving both attorneys the full attention, and it was very clear that they were trying very hard to make sure they were analyzing the case in front of them. Don't think that what we're seeing on TV with our emotional understanding of this case, that's not what these jurors are trying to do. And they did a really good job at it. In that courtroom, I can tell you right now, the jury is giving just as much time, effort, and energy to Ben Rottenborn as they did to Camille Vasquez. I saw it in person. I'm telling you right now, it happened.
Wow. All right. So see, these people are taking it seriously, people. So this may not just be such a easy, sweet win for Johnny.
The only reference to sexual assault in the article, and you can read the op-ed, is sexual assault that she said she had experienced by the time she was of college age, before Mr. Depp. So there is a reference to sexual violence in that article, but it's not by Mr. Depp.
I don't think this doesn't convince anybody. Like no one believes that article.
No, that one
right?
sucked. That one sucked. The one argument he gets to that's the strongest one where he makes is it's one instance. All he has to do is prove one instance. That's the one where he makes the strongest argument, and that's where people have the biggest lock on him. It's, do I buy this argument? Do I buy the argument that one time, if she can prove one time, does that then save Amber's case? And that's the big question.
Cheryl says, what are the chances a jury hasn't looked at social media or spoke to friends about the trial? How do you think it will affect their decision? I don't know. That's tough. That's tough. I'm assuming they took their oath and they're going to do the right thing. That's all we can do, and that's all we can hope for. You know, I don't know what to tell you guys. There's a reality and there's a real world. And I'm hoping the jurors, and that's how our system works. So, what do you think, Rob? Am I being too aspirational?
I don't know. It's freaking hard. The alternative is you sequester them. And right now, you sequester a jury in this day and age. You take their phones, you put them in a room that has no internet. I mean, you might as well lock them up in solitary confinement, because that's what sequestration is.
Yeah.
You want to put an axe in your own case? That's how you do it.
And you can't even talk to the other jurors about it, right? So it's like you really are locked and you can't watch the news because everything is censored. It's horrible. It's crazy. It's crazy, especially if it was 6 weeks. So it is K. Bragg. Rottenborn seemed to finish his closing at one point, paused, and then seemingly decided to keep going. My conspiracy theory is that he had to undercut Elaine's time so she wouldn't muck it all the way up. Thoughts? What do you think?
So this was weird, and this I agree with a lot. What's funny is Rottenborn gets his he does his best impression of Johnny Cochran, and he gets this moment in where he says, he reads the text messages from Johnny Depp, and he does this mic drop moment. And I remembered the phrase even after walking out of court. It was that kind of impactful because it was multi-layered. He goes, he reads the text message about the see you next Tuesday in the back of the car, that nasty one. And he says, America just got a window into the soul of America's favorite pirate. You just got a window into the soul of America's favorite pirate. And it was a kind of a mic drop moment. And on the clip, you see Camille Vasquez look sideways and you see Johnny Depp look sideways, and they both kind of nod their head, realizing the line itself and the drama behind it. But to K. Bragg's point, he didn't stop there. For me, that would have been walk
a great
away.
stopping point. Yeah.
Yep, he kept going, and I didn't understand why. It detracted from everything else he was doing. So I was confused.
Yeah. Well, here, back to again. Thank you, K Bragg, for your super chat. Let's get back to it. Pull this off, and boom.
And Mr. Depp can't hold her liable for a headline she didn't write that contained something that had nothing, that was not about him. And they want you to think that she republished the headline by tweeting out the link to the online version. So let's look at this. This is the tweet that she sent on December 19th. The hyperlink says, opinion Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence. That's the online version of the article. As Ms. Heard said, you can't attach, you can't tweet a piece of paper. So when she wanted to share that she had written this article, what choice does she have? She has to attach that link. And the jury instructions that you have make clear that a hyperlink is not republication. Forwarding a link on does not mean that you broadcast the statement again, but that's what they want to make you think. The only way, and the jury instructions that you have, and we don't need to read through them in detail now, but the republication instruction says that merely linking to an article does not amount to republication, but adding content to a linked article may constitute republication. You must determine whether any added content was intended to reach a new audience. And if you find any content added to the hyperlink was intended to reach a new audience, it constitutes a republication. There was no content added to the article. Let me be very clear. If Amber was abused by Mr. Depp even one time, then she wins.
Now, I want to pause it here because I think this is important. I'm going to zoom. Let me see if I can zoom in on this. I can. Yes. All right. So this is what. So I think him not addressing this, what she actually wrote, it kind of lost the argument, right? Because if you're right, if you push forward a link, you're good, right? I just shared a link. I don't even know what the link said, so I don't think you could republication. But he tried to slip around the issue that this was not just a retweet of an article. This was a quote tweet, right? She quoted something and retweeted it, and this is what she said: "Today I published an op-ed in the Washington Post about the woman who are channeling their rage about violence and inequity into political strength, despite the price of coming forward. From college campuses to Congress, we're balancing the scales." This, I think, loses. This shows you this is republication. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, I hated this argument. So this is something that a lot of trial lawyers are guilty of. They try to argue every point. They want to win on every point. This was always a losing argument. This one about the republication.
Yeah.
Like, she adds to it. She's clearly trying to push it out to her audience. She's clearly trying to relay the message to a new following. Why are you arguing something that is so obvious? Take your time. You have limited time, and focus on the points that are your strongest. I thought it was dumb. And this is clearly republication. It's just a stupid argument.
Yeah, but I think the argument part or the lawyering part that made me question, the greatness of Rottenboy, because I think Rottenboy actually the fabulous attorney, but I think this is an own goal, because if you put it up there and the jury reads it, it destroys your whole argument. So why put it up there, right? Why put the tweet up? Because if it's up there and I'm reading it, then I'm reading like, oh, it does exactly what you just said he did. So it's like he's trying to disprove something, and that's another. It's an issue sometimes with attorneys, is that if the jury doesn't believe you, I think you're trying to fool them, then you lose credibility. And then on your client, who I think doesn't have any credibility right now, the case is really on the attorneys having some credibility. I think that even hurts even more. What do you think, Rob?
I mean, yeah, hit it for 2 seconds. Don't put this tweet up. Hit it for 2 seconds, not republication, republish the hyperlink, and then move on. Don't give the other side any ammo to go after you on. You're like, you said it right. It's an own goal. Don't do it.
Yeah.
One time. And we're not just talking about physical abuse. We're talking about emotional abuse, psychological abuse, financial abuse, sexual abuse. That's what we're talking about.
Now, this was, I think, his best line of reasoning because if you remember, Johnny Depp's team in their closing tried to limit abuse, and they did it in a beautiful way, right? She's because they're saying she's claiming all these physical things happened. We know these physical things are lies, so then obviously there's no abuse, and Johnny should win.
Mhm.
On the opposite side is they're saying abuse is anything, whatever we want it to be, an economic abuse, stub toenail abuse, broadening the definition of abuse. And I think this argument works for him because even Curry and some of the professionals from Depp's side even admitted that abuse encompasses more than just physical abuse. What do you think, Rob?
I agree 100%. I mean, this is why wasting time on the tweet is stupid. Like you have Dr. Curry saying that emotional abuse can be emotional. You have Johnny Depp saying the ashtray thing. When my mother would throw ashtrays at me, it didn't hurt as bad as when she would call me names. I mean,
Yeah.
why focus on things that aren't relevant when you have things you can actually focus on to try and make a cogent legal argument?
Yeah, yeah, and this is a winner. I think this argument's a winner, but I don't think he. I think he's trying to maybe satisfy the client and win the case, and sometimes those two things aren't in alignment.
Let's look at the evidence. You heard Mr. Depp define abuse from his own mouth. He admitted all of that when you talked about his childhood. They're trying to trick you into thinking that Amber has to be perfect in order to win, even while they're ignoring Mr. Depp's many flaws. But don't fall for that trick. Amber's not perfect. None of us are. She's never pretended to be, and that's not what you're being asked to decide. One time, ladies and gentlemen, one time. If he abused her one time, Amber wins. Actually, if he fails to prove that he never abused her one time, Amber wins.
I love the fact that he likes to keep eye contact. I swear those are probably bullet points that he's looking at. He's keeping eye contact, keeping them involved. It's very good technique. I think the argument doesn't work, but I think the technique is good. What do you
But
think,
this
Rob?
was a missed opportunity because he said it he said it wrong the first time. Like
Yeah.
one time, that's all she has to prove, and then he realized in the moment that no, he has to say it this other way because the other way is the legally factual way of saying it. And I wish
Yeah.
it would have been so much more impactful. And I don't mean I wish it would have been said this way. I know that in that moment he wishes he had those words back and could have rephrased it to say no. He has to disprove that even one instance happened. Like
Oh yeah.
that's
That's essentially that's what he has to do. It's crazy because I think they had if you asked me at the beginning of this trial, I thought Amber's team had a winnable case. But now it's just like, how did we get here? Where I don't think they have a shot at all. It's crazy, right?
how do we save it? And Rottenborn is doing the best he can at saving this case. And I think honestly on closing arguments, look, closing arguments, you know as well as I do, most juries make their mind up after the end of opening. They do. They just
Oh yeah, oh
and,
yeah, yeah.
and you got to try and sway them the other way. At the end of the evidence, I mean, he knows he's got a mountain to climb. He's got to get over Kilimanjaro with crap facts, and he does the best he can. And I think he does a damn good job with the facts he has. I just don't think he had enough.
Tracy says, did they show any proof of Johnny's organized smear campaign of Amber? What did I miss? No, they didn't show any proof. They just alluded to it. And again, the facts they have are just he wrote the op-ed. He wrote the op-ed. He had the meeting with the I forgot the paper, the Daily Mail. His lawyer saying all these statements. So that's the smear. That's as much as they gave us about the smear campaign. And Amber saying that everybody who's harassing her is Johnny Depp's is on or Johnny is essentially ordering all this stuff to happen to her. So there's not been any factual proof of it. Thanks for the super chat. Love your passion, Nate. Both of you are amazing. I need more content to watch from Rob. How much more do you want? You got to see him on Spidey's too. Spidey's channel. That was great.
Yeah. Hey, you want content? Go jump over to the behavioral arts or look at my channel. Spidey and I just put out a good analysis of this closing argument. Do it after this live though. Let's stick through and watch the argument. I want to see you guys vote.
All right. Justice for Johnny Depp. Ooh, thank you so much. Thanks for the super chat. And again, I'm a mirror ball. I do want to thank you again for the generous super chat and thank you for letting us address the drama earlier. Appreciate it. Here we go. We got a couple more minutes before we have to vote. I'm going to
So
speed
let's
this up
take
a
a look
little
at
bit.
some of the evidence. This was one of the first messages shown to Mr. Depp
We'll go
in
1.25.
his cross-examination. This is a message to Paul Bettany, his drug buddy, early on in their relationship, when he says, "Let's burn Amber. Let's drown her before we burn her. I will f her burnt corpse afterwards to make sure she is dead." Some of the most vile, disgusting language that you could ever imagine. That is what he said to her at the beginning of the relationship. So let's look at how the relationship was bookended. You remember Mr. Depp the other day in response to some text that we'll see later saying, "I don't write like that." This is a bookend of the relationship. This is after it was over. I asked Mr. Depp to read that top text. You'll remember that was the only thing I asked him to read. And he immediately said, "I didn't write that text," even though, of course he did.
I want to say, if you notice, this one doesn't have the outgoing and ingoing on it. Because remember, the other one had outgoing, ingoing. This is cleaned up. This doesn't have that. So I think they knew that there was an issue, maybe an issue here, and now cleaning it up. What do you think?
Yeah, but get ready for the line. Get ready for the
No, he
line.
wrote the text under it that said, "Hopefully that rotting corpse is decomposing in the trunk of a Honda Civic." That's how he bookended their relationship. Ladies and gentlemen, these words are a window into the heart and mind of America's favorite pirate. This is the real Johnny Depp.
You can't restore his reputation.
Did you see it?
You can't.
Did you
do
see
I
it?
saw it.
anything.
Yeah, hold
They
on. I'm
didn't
trying to
tell
stop
you
it.
that. The court-
I saw it. They both looked at him. Yeah. That's the way he should have closed. But
Right
you know,
there. Just
yeah.
boom, walk away.
Again, just so everybody knows, these are just the highlights from it. I think that was good. Yeah, that would have been great.
told
Yeah.
you that. And that's a very, very important thing here. He told his story. He had his opportunities. He had his full opportunities to do all of that. And he came in here and lied to you and said he's here to get his reputation back. It's just one of many lies in this case, but it's a really big one because here we are, 6 weeks of your time, precious time, 6 weeks of this court's time for what? For nothing, only to go after Amber. That's psychological abuse. He's going after Amber for nothing because he wants.
I think that line, "This is psychological abuse," that didn't land well. I don't think it landed well.
No, she goes further. She says breaking stuff, that's psychological abuse. Hitting things, that's psychological abuse. And I got heat for making this comment. Like when you make that statement out of context, that's terrible. Like people get frustrated. People like throw glasses, doors. I mean, you have to put it in context. It's not fair to just classify that broadly as psychological abuse. And what she does here, I think, is really harmful to Amber's case, period. You can't, that's the generalization. That's the same thing Amber did by making this big story. And Elaine just elaborates the problem with that case.
Oh yeah.
Wants to put her through this again, the third time. So we're fighting back, and that's the counterclaim. She finally has said enough. And we're asking you to finally hold this man responsible. He has never accepted responsibility for anything in his life. Once again, the next day, Johnny apologizes to Amber. He says in two different text messages, that's 772 and 773, he says, "My profound apologies" in one of them, and "my apologies are eternal" in the other one. What is he apologizing for the next day on May 22nd? If he didn't know that he did all of those things. She wasn't wearing any makeup. She was natural. She wasn't wearing a stitch of makeup. Every one of them says it. It's the exact same thing. Well, why would you say that? She's an actor. She's not going to go outside her house, without putting makeup on. And if she has bruises, why on earth, when she's been covering them up for 4 years, why on earth would she not put makeup on so that she would cover those up? Why on earth would she not want to cover up those bruises? It makes no sense. But you know what? You guys saw her here. You saw Amber on the stand. There were days where she didn't wear eye makeup. A lot of people think that she's not wearing makeup when she doesn't have mascara and eyeliner on.
This argument, I think, is going down the drain. It's essentially losing me, and I understand what she's trying to do because as a practitioner, I think she's doing the bullet point thing too. I think she's trying to connect with the jury. As you can tell, a lot of her stuff seems to be point here, talk here, and just kind of just shoot from the hip and just give that colloquial, let's just, have a conversation with the jury, but stay on, with my chapters. For those of you who don't know, generally, if you're when you're doing a closing, you have chapters, and those chapters, kind of tell the story and how you want to put the narrative. So there's beginning and end, a middle and the end, and that's what she's kind of working through. But I think there's her problem is that she's trying to make these grandiose points, but the evidence doesn't really support it. What do you think, Rob?
I don't know. If she's writing chapters, she's doing so like a 5-year-old on speed. Like she's writing, she's like, I have a headline, and then she goes completely sideways and off the rails. And what's happening, what you're seeing here,
Mhm.
this is what happens to an attorney when they're losing a judge, and an attorney when they're
Mm.
losing a jury. You make a point to a judge, and you try to relay a punch, right? You give them that bullet point, and the judge doesn't give you an expression back. Well, a good attorney realizes it didn't land the punch, move on to the next one. Elaine here realizes she didn't land a punch with the headline, but she tries to sell him anyways. And she does the whole like, bah, 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 bah.
Yeah.
And it becomes so freaking weird that you just lose track of everything.
Yeah. It's interesting how I don't know, because if you moot, for those of you who don't know, like you practice your closing with your co-counsel or even with some other people in the firm. I'm surprised if you moot this. It's like I don't know if this works, Elaine. I don't know if she's getting critical. maybe she might just be more senior than Rottenborn, but it's kind of like I don't know if this is gonna work, Elaine. You may want to do something else. I don't know.
She has different looks, and some of them are with eye makeup and some of them are without. And people misunderstand, especially people that aren't that good at makeup, and a lot of men, frankly, go, oh, then she probably doesn't have makeup. And that's where that mistake happens. But you heard her testimony and you heard.
You see how you see, and that's what I mean, people. You see, she's not looking at her paper at all. She's already got what she wants to talk about, and is just really shooting from the hip, right? And she's just trying to have a conversation. Now, as a technique, though, I think this is more effective than just standing at the podium. But it's all within reason, right? If you're doing this and not saying anything, then it's not effective because what you're saying is still crap, right? Where I think Camille, she's a little more stoic, but what she's saying had some substance to it. So it's one of those weird positions where Camille had her the way she actually performed the cross. I don't think was as effective as Elaine is, but I think Elaine's is just totally. It's not even at the same level because of the substance. The substance is just so poor. What do you think, Rob?
Yeah, this is a different style. Style wise, if you're teaching a litigator how to give a close, you teach them how to do it like Ben and Elaine. However, the big caveat here is you never want a attorney reading from a script unless, in the very rare exception, the words they are reading come across with the emotion and empowerment that Camille and Ben Chu were able to relay. That's the
Yes.
only exception. They were the exception, not the rule, and it was really freaking good.
Let me take down a couple of these super chats real quick. All right. I don't like the dark humor excuse for JD's lawyers for his Texas. Hey, I don't think it works for everybody. I agree. Would venting have been a better claim? He couldn't cope with AH abuse anymore and vented. I don't know. Dark humor. It all depends. Dark humor can work because I know people who have dark humor, but also, is it true? Right? If you could say that it may be something else, but the fact that not everybody will buy the dark humor, if it's true, then it is what it is, right? So I don't know, because I'm assuming they asked him, he's just like, no, this is true. I just this is so. I think that's what you go with, right? My client is saying this is dark humor. This is dark humor, because you don't want to get caught up with saying something else, and then there's something that you said, and then Oh, and let's not forget these people have also had depositions on the oath before, so I'm assuming he's probably locked into that, to saying that answer, because he's probably said that answer before under oath. That's because they were deposed in both the divorce and in the UK case. So it just might just also be for consistency. This one, Hobo Jim says, was it a good decision for Rottenborn to cut witness off and immediately ask his next question? Yes. Sometimes that's just a very good thing, especially if it's a bad line of questioning. How does the jury perceive that, especially from a guy in a suit that does not look or sound like a common person? But I think, Hobo Jim, you have to understand it's one moment in 6 weeks, right? It's juries remember themes, they remember concepts, they don't remember like every single moment it may turn someone off, but it's less likely than that. I'll give you an example of one moment that actually did turn a jury off. If you remember the Michael Jackson trial, one of the jurors was interviewed after the trial and said the thing that turned her was that one of the witnesses pointed at the jury and was like, the blah blah blah, and she said that pointing at them turned everybody off, and they were against that witness and essentially against the side that was against Michael, and Michael prevailed. So you don't know what those moments are, but you know I just don't think this was one of them. But thanks again for the $20, Jim. I appreciate it. Thanks for becoming a member too. I saw you became a member. Let me play this out so we can get to the thing before we get too long here. So I'm going to play out Elaine's last couple of minutes.
Testimony saying she doesn't go out of her room without concealer and foundation. She knows how to put these things in. And you saw Defendant's Exhibit 155, and you'll have the actual thing in there. That's the type of palette she used. And she was very adept at telling you what color she puts on for the different days of bruises. This is a woman who for 4 years did everything she could to cover up anybody knowing anything about this abuse. Do you honestly think she's just going to walk around for the week with her bruises exposed? Of course she's not. If you do the math, Amber is entitled to at least 31.5. What does she take? 7 million. What does she do with the 7 million? She gives it to charity, or she intends to give it to charity. Now, they make much ado about the pledge versus donation, but both the corporate designees for ACLU and for Children's Hospital said donation and pledge are interchangeable. These are pledges. The ACLU corporate designee said you typically do pledges because of the tax benefits. And
Now I got to stop it here. Why even mention this in closing?
I don't know. And you can see Vasquez. Vasquez is going, do I object? How do I object? Because she's kind of mischaracterizing the evidence here. She's like veering off of the argument road. And Vasquez is like, she's doing these things. These are things that we're doing to keep our hands from like stressing out and showing stress to the jury. I don't know. This was a bad move on Elaine's part because it opened her up for so much.
It doesn't make sense why you would bring this. It just, again, I think this is trying to grasp at everything and missing the forest for the trees, because this is a tree moment here. There's a tree in front of you and you're like, I missed the forest.
that's what she said. She pledged it over a period of time because of the tax implications to it and because she was getting paid over the time. Now she started to make these donations, and you'll see that the first one was on behalf of Mr. Depp's business manager, Mr. White, actually sent the letters with the 100,000 for each of those. That was the initial ones. He was trying to take credit for those, and in fact, both the ACLU and Children's Hospital got confused and gave the credit to Mr. Depp, not to Amber, for those. Then she made payments to both, and Elon Musk also made payments to both for 500,000 each, which she didn't count to her pledge, but they helped those organizations. At the end of the day, she's made $1 million in payments to them, but then she got sued here and hasn't been able to because she spent $6 million in attorney's fees. That is unrefuted. She still intends to pay those pledges, honor those pledges, and she said that throughout. And I elicited from both the ACLU and from Children's Hospital, they haven't expired. She can pay them whenever she wants to, and she fully intends to, but she has to get out from under this first. They started to get Amber fired from Aquaman 2. They have continued to this day. They have followed her everywhere. Everybody has stopped wanting her. L'Oreal won't use her, even though they've kept her on from that time. She lost 3 different opportunities that were being discussed with her.
Pause here.
Most
Pause here. Pause here.
significant
Pause
part
here.
of that, though,
This is an important part for everyone in the chat. This is actually a really important part. Ben Shu at this point in time has objected twice and has lost the objection. She gets back up and starts writing. Vasquez knows that if Ben Shu keeps objecting, he's alienating the jury. So what Vasquez is doing right here is she is writing frantically because she knows the objections are going to alienate the jury, but she has to make sure that these are bullet points in her rebuttal. She is frantically writing because she knows that she is given this opportunity because this is being let loose here. And that leads to one of the most impactful rebuttals I have ever watched. Vasquez comes in and just goes, bam, bam, bam.
She knocks
And
it out.
this is what she's doing here.
One thing I also like is that so if you notice in the court, the attorneys in the front are listening for objections, and the attorneys in the back are the ones who are writing down points for counterpoints. So you'll notice that even when you'll see them on this side, you'll see them arguing. Watch how the attorneys in the back, whenever something does happen, they'll write it down because they're helping them prepare closing. It's a nice little way how the team is working together. It's this little nugget that people, if you didn't notice it, you'll see. Generally, Vasquez doesn't write anything down, but she did write down that last point though, because I think she just wanted to make sure she caught it. But generally, you won't see her writing down stuff. You'll see the people in the back writing everything down.
is that Aquaman was the biggest blockbuster ever for DC Films. It was the biggest. It was over $1 billion. This was her opportunity for her star. Even the experts from Mr. Depp admitted this was her blockbuster. This was her mega. But what happened instead? As she's going through, as it's coming out, and in that 16 months, they were going, well, nothing happened. Yeah, lots happened. She had 3 different films she was discussing. She got the L'Oreal contract. She got The Stand. All of those things were happening because of Aquaman. And then everything shut down. She wasn't allowed to do publicity for The Stand. She wasn't allowed to, she hasn't been allowed to do anything for L'Oreal. She got shut down from her charitable organizations. She ended up not getting the Amazon.
She's shooting from the hip right now.
They gave her a hard time about Aquaman too. And instead of the career trajectory of the other comparators who all went way up, and by the way, all the experts admit that career trajectory went well for all the rest of them, and she's the only one that didn't have it. And the reason is because of the defamatory statements.
All right. Even though people are now hating me calling her Vasquez, I'm sorry, but I've been saying that since my whole life, and I'm from New York, so guys got to deal with it a little bit. So we've heard both closing arguments from both sides. What do you think?
Closing. I mean, how much can you make up? It's like the guy that begins the 400-meter race. Like imagine like this is a 400-meter relay, right? You have 4 legs to the track, and you have a team that is literally got their last runner who is starting lap 4 when about to halfway through lap 4 when the last runner of the other team gets the baton and has a full lap to catch up. How much progress can you really make? Can you really catch them? And Rottenborn did the best job he could. I just don't see him catching up with the evidence.
Yeah, I think they took it as far as they could, and I feel bad because I think Rottenborn could have done a better job, but I think his client is holding him back a little bit, and I think that's what we're getting. So, but we'll see because they haven't lost yet. They could still win. So we're moving to the next phase now. You guys have heard the closing statements. Now, those were cut down tremendously from the hours and hours and hours, but we are going now to the verdict form. So we're going to read through the verdict form, and this is how it looks from the court's website. So I literally pulled it out. But what's going to happen with you guys, let me share this other screen, is that I've taken those verdict forms and converted them all into these. Oops, let me share this like this. These Google Forms. So I'm going to put a link in the chat, a pinned link, and you guys are going to fill it out. So these are the verdict forms, and each one of these are just it's the same exact questions, just put into this form. Let me show the form so you guys can see it. Here it is. So I'm going to be sending out a link, and remember, does this one have any responses? No. We're looking for each one of these questions. We'll go through them. We're going to go through all the questions right now. But each one of these questions, we're going to need at least a 90% to find Johnny Depp. If Johnny Depp is to win these claims, we got to have 90% approval on these forms. If we do, he's won. And we're going to also do the same thing for Amber Heard's claims because they're also in this form thing. So before we get there, let's go over the special verdict form so you guys can say. All right, special verdict form. So we'll do Johnny Depp's side first, and then we'll take care of Amber Heard's side. So this is special verdict form, Johnny Depp. Mr. Depp's claims against Amber Heard. Let me put it up on the screen. So here we go. So here's a special verdict form. So this breaks down the 3 statements that Johnny Depp is suing for. So we're going to start with Depp's. His first statement. So hopefully everybody's listening. Before I put the link, we're going to just go through this real quick. As to the statement appearing in the online op-ed titled Amber Heard, I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. That has to change. The Washington Post online edition. This is a statement, people. Let's be very clear with the statement. I spoke up against sexual violence and face our culture's wrath. Time has to change. So this, I think, is a little mixed up with them, but do you find that Mr. Depp has proven all the elements of defamation? Well, this shouldn't be here because this should be the last. This should be down here because these are the elements for defamation. So it seems like they just put it in the wrong order. Do you think it's yes or no, right? Do you find yes or no? But so we're going to go through these. The first thing, it says, if you've answered yes, but it says that before the elements. So here are the elements. First, the statement was made or published by Miss Heard. There's gonna be it's a multiple choice. You answer yes or no. The statement was about Mr. Depp. Again, we're talking about that first statement, the first statement of I spoke up against sexual violence and faced our culture's wrath. Time has to change. With that statement about Mr. Depp. Question 2, yes or no. Statement 3. Statements again. Question 3. The statement was false. Yes or no. So you guys see, statement is false, yes or no. The next one, the defamatory implication was designed. Oh, I'm sorry. The statement has defamatory implication about Mr. Depp, meaning that it implies Mr. Depp did bad things. Again, yes or no. The next question is the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard. I think that's pretty self-explanatory. Did she design and intend for this defamatory implication? Now, there's evidence of, I think, both sides have presented about that. Again, it's a yes or no question. And then, due to the circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp. So this is the publication. With someone else who's not Mr. Depp who saw it, would it imply that Johnny Depp is an abuser? So these are the questions that you're going to answer in the jury form. And then after that, we're going to answer the last question, which is actual malice. But I got to mention 2 things before we get into the form, because the form is about to go up in a couple of seconds. When we're talking about these initial statements, whether the statement was published, was made by Ms. Heard, these first elements, the burden is preponderance of the evidence, meaning, is it more likely than not? Is it more likely than not? If, for instance, so I'll take that the statement was false. Is it more likely than not that the statement is false? If you say either yes or no. If you believe it's false, more likely than not it's false, versus more likely than not it's true. So those are the statements. Now, when we get down to the bottom for clear and convincing evidence, it's if you've answered yes to all of those other ones, then we're going to ask, has Depp proven by clear and convincing evidence that Amber Heard acted with actual malice? Now, I think this is an easier question because essentially, if you believe the statement is false, you believe she made it up. And if she made it up, you have actual malice. What do you think about that, Rob?
I mean, yeah. Pretty much. You got a second? Share the screen.
Which screen? Oh, got it. Here's sharing Rob's screen.
There you go. There's the 5 standards of evidence.
Yep.
Clear and convincing between preponderance and beyond a reasonable doubt. The way I relay it is the court pretty damn sure.
So I'm putting the poll in the chat. POLL. Poll on JD1. So this is JD question 1 for the first statement. I'm adding it to the chat now, and I'm going to pin it. Pin it. Get it to pin it. Oh, moving too fast. I'm trying to pin it. And it will be pinned in the chat. And I'm going to give people 3 minutes while me and Rob talk. This you have to send me. I love this, Rob. This is brilliant.
Isn't that easy? It's an easy way of explaining it.
It is so easy. I love visuals. I'm a visual guy. I love visuals. So, Rob, let me ask you. I'm going to ask you to fill this out. Let's see. I want to see what you think about this. So here is the form that they're filling out. Let me put it on screen so we can see it. We can give our opinion on that first question. Come on, StreamYard, stop acting up. All right, here
Nate,
it is.
the chat's blowing you up. They say it's the wrong link.
Oh,
I don't know if they're trolling you or if they're.
Let me click it again. This is JD1. We'll click it. No, it's the right link. Let me look again. So they're saying it's the wrong link. Let me try.
I think you did JD1. Maybe it's the AH one.
No, this is JD1. It's supposed to, this is what I'm coming up with. Are you guys not coming up with? Let me share my screen. Add to screen. Are you guys? I spoke up against sexual violence and face our culture's wrath. That's what you guys are supposed to be saying. Is that what you guys are saying? Click that link. Tell me what you see, Rob.
Gotta find the link. Hang on.
Oh, it should be right there at the top. Let me open it up incognito. Make sure I give you guys the right link. Oh yeah, it is the wrong link. Sorry guys. How did I put the wrong link up there? All right, I am so sorry. I did put the wrong link. You guys are right. Let me remove that and put the right link. I am a fool, people. Let me copy this again. It's funny because I have they're all literally all set up here. Let me do this one more time. It was already pre-set up. Come on, come on, come on. All right, I'm doing it again, people. I am so sorry. I am an idiot and I sent out the wrong link. Let me do this one more time. Ah, you guys were correct. That was the wrong link. It should have been this link. Let me try one more time. And you know what? This shows you how sometimes you got to think on your feet because I've like have everything all planned out and it was this damn wrong link. All right, redo, people. Sorry. This is the correct link. It should be in the chat right now. And I'm going to pin it again if the YouTube gods allow me to pin it. And this one, Control V. Here we go. I'm putting it in twice. And now I'm going to pin it because the chat is moving fast. So I want you guys to see it. And it is replace pin message. Yep. And there it is. All right. Do you see the pin message, Rob? Sorry about the whole mix up. And is it the right one? I spoke up against sexual violence.
Double checking. Yep.
All right. Sorry again, people. I'm working with Google Forms. We got the responses coming out. All right. So here it is. So, Rob, the statement. Was it made? Was
Yes.
it made or published by Miss Heard? I think that's an easy one, right?
I mean, yes, that's the easy one.
So what do you think about this one? The statement was about Johnny Depp. He's not named
Also,
in it.
yes.
Yeah, you're a
Yes.
yes on this too? All right.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm there.
All right, number 3. Is the statement false?
This is the sexual violence statement.
This is the first one, sexual violence statement.
Sexual violence, yes.
The statement is false.
Yeah.
All right, I got yes for that one. The statement has a defamatory implication about Mr. Depp.
I think it was yes.
The defamatory implication designed and intended by Ms. Heard.
It's a weird way of phrasing that question. It drives me nuts. Because it's the designed part of it. Like you can tell. Yeah.
Go ahead. No,
I want to hear your opinion on this because I'm tossing it in my head.
See, so for here, this would be 50-50 for me if she just wrote it. But the fact that the ACLU's guy, when I'm listening to him, he kind of made it very clear that it was kind of intended to get a quick little buzz and a little thing about it. But you know, it became a little it's that type of thing. Like I think. Hold on, let me put it on slow mode. I think at this point, yeah, I'm gonna put yes for this because it's if the ACLU made such a point about them needing to kind of attach it to Johnny's name to get that bump to it, right? So it was intended for that purpose. Again, it's my opinion though.
And the reason why this question is so weird is it's the defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard. It's did Ms. Heard herself design the implication? Because the way that you're phrasing it, the ACLU came back and said, we need this to be more punchy and we need this to be more about Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
I
That's what
think
they said.
preponderance. If we're on the preponderance standard, then I'm saying yes.
Yeah, that's the standard here. Preponderance.
I know. I'm 51%. You can get me there.
All right, hold on. Let me change. Let me just put it in slow mo to slow everything down a little bit and kill some bots. Thank you, mods, for reaching out to let me know to slow it down and get those bots out of there. All right, so I'm gonna put yes. Due to the circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveys a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp. So this, in other words, is the publication. Someone else who read it saw that it implied Depp, and Depp is bad. What do you think about that one?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're good here too. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah, without a doubt.
So then we get to the last one. Do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Miss Heard acted with actual malice? But that's all. It's got to be a yes, because if you believe everything else was a yes,
I
this one has to
think
be a yes.
with this question, and this is the one that I wasn't sold until Amber got up there on the rebuttal case. Dumbest
Mhm.
move ever by her attorneys, and really embraced the republication.
So we're saying yes.
Yeah, I'm saying yes. I think this is the one that this is the one statement that Johnny Depp wins on. Without, I think that Amber Heard entering that rebuttal case and entering and giving testimony in rebuttal sank her case.
Oh wow. All right. Well, hey guys, we are going into it now. Let me stop responses. I'm giving you guys 5 seconds. 4, 3, 2, 1, and responses are going to be not accepting any more responses for number 1. So let's see. Depp Heard 1. We're going to see the responses. Let me bring in another friend on civil law. What's going on, brother?
What's up?
we're about to go into the responses for the Depp Heard situation. So we got 1,200 responses. Now remember, for each one of these, we need 90%. If we don't get 90%, we're done.
90%?
90%, because it's supposed to be unanimous. So we need 90% on each one of the things. Are you ready?
90% from the internet's asking a lot, but okay.
That's what we're asking for. Well, question 1. Was the statement was made or published by Ms. Heard? 99.7% yes. Can we count that as unanimous?
Yep.
So this is a first statement. And let me just refresh everybody's recollection. The statement was, I'm a survivor of the sexual violence one, the title. The statement was about Mr. Depp. 98% of you say the statement was about Mr. Depp. So I think people are clearly. What do we think about this one? 98%? The internet is spoken, huh? Look at this one. So it went worse because it was 99, 98. Now we're at 96%. The statement was false. Wow. So we're getting a little more red here. So it seems like we're all in agreement. We're all over 90. The statement has defamatory implications about Mr. Depp. 98%. The defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard, right? 97%. Due to the circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp. So this is the toughest one. We're at 95%. So all the questions, we got yes on everything from our jury. Let's see about actual malice. And do you find that Mr. Depp has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Ms. Heard acted with actual malice? 98% of respondents said yes. So what does this mean? This means that it seems like the first alleged defamatory statement, Amber Heard is on her way to lose. What do you think?
I agree.
So now what about damages? How much do you think, for this one, what are the damages you think he should get? Because he's asking for what, 50 mil?
Yep.
7.
7? Just for the first one.
I mean, I would give him. I give him 7 on the first. I deny that second 2. That's kind of how my opinion's been on this one so far.
All right.
47 million.
47 million.
I like the number.
And $1.
And $1.
I figure it's got to be N$1 because I like the 7 million idea. But if we're going to do that route, we got to be 7 million and $1 because
See-
like give me everything back and $1 more just as an FU.
Yeah, I kind of wanted like a $1 damages award, just $1 in legal fees.
Yeah.
Like that one, I think would be so epic.
Let me take down a couple of these super chats before I get too far behind. There's a very generous super chat came in. I want to just show my appreciation. Oh, thank you for coming a member too. Thank you so much. Matt says the judge in this case is hands down my favorite of all the judges that have been involved in any LawTube trial.
We're going to have a judge
Great.
tier list before too long.
What do you guys think? I think this judge was amazing, an amazing practitioner. Thanks, Ruby, for coming to member. I think this judge was amazing, simply amazing. I don't get me wrong. No one's perfect. No judge is perfect, but this judge did a hell of a job with a very high profile case. She kept the tight court. I loved everything she did. It was good stuff. Good stuff. How do you guys feel about the judge?
Yeah, I love her.
Yeah,
Love her
I know
time
Kurt-
management skills. That's
Yeah,
great.
I know Kurt loves the time. I love the time too. Like Kurt and I are both in that one. Like the whole "you will finish." No, I am not wrong on the time. Yes, you are screwed because you overused your time.
Oh my God. Yeah. I love this judge. I love this judge. I think I would love to practice in front of, even though I think some of her, she's a hearsay purist, as pure as it could possibly be.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
but that would be frustrating. But I think she's good. I really do like this judge. Thanks for the super chat, Matt. We appreciate it. Let's move on to statement 2. So the statement 2, it goes this whole thing, but statement 2. Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. That's the second statement we're going to be evaluating. Kurt, since you're new, thoughts? What do you think?
Well, I mean, are we going to go through? I can give you thoughts on each element. I mean, I'm inclined to vote yes. Let me say that, but it's not.
Well, you know what?
It's not as
Let's
solid as it was for number 1.
Let's do this. I'm going to put the link in, and we vote, and we'll vote with the chat, and we'll see how everybody turns out. So let me pull up the next one, and we will vote with the chat. Here we go. Now I have all the links right, hopefully this time, so nobody is to yell at me, Nate. But yeah, so we had a little miss out. I had a little mishap the first time I put the wrong link up. So, all right, here is
someone in the chat picked out where I'm gonna say that this statement is false and it's not where you think it's gonna be.
Well, here we go. Come on. How's my message retracted? StreamYard.
I'm interested with the discussion of Rob. It'll be interesting to see. I'm open to discussion on it.
All right, we have. It is the pinned comment now, people. It's up. Boom, it's up. So actually, you guys can click the pinned comment and go to the form. So let's go. I'm gonna go with the guests to the original verdict form. This is what they're going to be filling out. So matter of fact, I'll go to the form so we can all see what they're filling out too, and we can fill it out. So we're talking about, this is statement 2 from Depp and Heard. Statement 2 form, and I'm going to share it on screen so we can talk about it while they're filling that out. So share screen. StreamYard's got to make this easier. All right. So here is the statement. So the first thing we're going to see is the statement. Then 2 years ago, I became a public figure representing domestic abuse, and I felt the full force of our culture's wrath for women who speak out. Kurt, question 1. The statement was made or published by Miss Heard.
Yes.
What do you think, Rob? Yes?
Yes, she published it.
The statement was about Mr. Depp.
Yes.
Yes.
All right, we're all in agreement. The statement was false. This one I'm struggling with. I'm struggling with is the statement false one.
Rob, you want to give your opinion first, or do you want me to give an opinion
I'll
first?
give it. The statement was opinion.
Okay, you think it's opinion?
Yeah, I mean, look at it. Like,
Go back to the
there's so
statement.
much I in there. There's so much I became a public figure. It's a subjective statement. It's inherently subjective. And then I felt the full force. Like, it's opinion. That's
Well, as to the second half, I would agree with you. I mean, after the word "and," I'd agree with you.
So are we saying no? Because we're doing this. The statement
Here's-
was false. We know
here's
a
what I-
no means he loses. So are we saying no?
Here's what I think. Okay, so 2 years ago, what was happening? She was filing the restraining order against Johnny Depp, and she even said that on stand, which I thought was such a unforced error by Amber Heard, one among many. But she said, when asked what was happening 2 years ago by Camille Vasquez, she said exactly that. I was filing the domestic restraining order. So that's where we get that's about Johnny Depp. Then the second part is like, okay, domestic abuse. I'm the face of domestic abuse. The problem is I'm thinking about what an ordinary, normal, common person reading that thinks is they think physical abuse, and they think, people slapping, people punching, all the rest of it. So the defamatory implication, I think, is that Johnny Depp was doing those things, and I don't think that has been proven. So that's my sort of thought process on it. So I'm inclined to say yes.
So we got one
Ooh.
no and one yes.
Nate, you're the tiebreaker.
Shit. I don't know.
I became a public figure representing domestic abuse. What does it mean to represent domestic abuse? Like 2 years ago, 2 years ago brings in Johnny Depp.
Yeah.
So okay, so we're bringing it about Johnny Depp. So domestic abuse now must be understood in that context. And so we're thinking. So the allegation is Johnny Depp and domestic abuse, and an ordinary person hears domestic abuse and thinks physical violence.
All right, but the thing is that my simple question for this would be: is there evidence that Johnny Depp abused Amber Heard at any point in time?
Physically?
But that's also not it. Like, she became the face of a movement. You can say domestic abuse. You can say domestic abuse in that context is a movement. She became the face of a movement. And if you get there, I don't know that you clear that hurdle.
I think I'm gonna have to agree with Rob with this one. I want to put, is a statement false? Yes, but I don't think I can.
I appreciate that.
I want to put it's false, right? Because I believe it's false. No, you know what? No, because I don't think he abused her. I think most of his abuse was a reaction. I think she abused him, but I don't think he abused her. So I'm going to put yes. Like the statement is, I'm going to put the statement is false.
Unless you buy in the concept of mutual abuse, which I think is debatable. Yeah. Everything he ever did was responsive anyway. So
yeah, and that's fine. You guys like this. That's what shows you how crazy this case is. Like, it's not easy call.
This is exactly how juries will be doing it, right? Well, did you? How'd you feel about it? This is exactly how it would work in the jury room. Let's look at the next one. The statement has a defamatory implication for Mr. Depp.
2 years ago, it sells that for me. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, we're all there. Defamatory implication was designed and intended by Ms. Heard 2 years ago.
Her plenty of testimony along those lines, both from ACLU and her.
Due to the circumstances surrounding the publication of the statement, it conveyed a defamatory implication to someone who saw it other than Mr. Depp.
Yep.
Yeah, I think we're all there. And actual malice, I think if we believe in
actual malice is just a gimme for me. It's it's the easiest element.
All right, let's see the responses. Let's see. So we are not accepting any more responses anymore. We got 1,100 responses. Remember, people, 90% means unanimous verdict here online. So we're looking for 90%. So as to the first claim of Johnny Depp, we have Johnny Depp winning everything and getting a minimum of $7 million. We're on statement 2. Let's see if we're there. 99% says the statement was made or published by Amber Heard. She wrote the op-ed, so I think that somebody just put no just to be an asshole. She literally said that. The statement was about Mr. Depp. 97%. I think that's a gimme. This one should bother people.
Yeah.
15%. So that means claim 2, Johnny Depp has lost based on our poll for our jury. How do you guys feel about that?
It just means it's a question. It just means it's still a question. Like that, people aren't convinced that the statement was something that could be proven true or proven false because there's so many caveats in that sentence.
This is crazy, huh? We couldn't get 90% but we're going through it in such a methodical way. So that means, so just so everyone understands, because of this, they didn't reach 90% on whether the statement was false. We're saying Johnny Depp is going to lose this claim.
Could well be. I think two is tenuous. I'm not upset at Rob's analysis. He might well be right in the end.
But again, you don't need everybody. You just need one person to really think so. And that's
Sure.
what this is saying. You're getting one person. When it comes to whether the statement is defamatory implications, people agree with that, 96%.
Well, what's 1/7? What's 1 out of 7? It's 13% or something like that. So yeah, okay.
Yeah. This one is 15%. Yeah.
Oh, that's more. Yeah, that's
the same thing. 95% believed it was intended. And 94% it was published to third party, and 95% thinks it's actual malice. So, but again, so everybody understands, Johnny Depp has lost on claim 2.
yeah.
So, but it's funny because most of us were predicting that he would probably lose on the assault, on the just the abuse claims, because they were so nebulous.
Vague.
Yeah, they were vague and nebulous. So.
Also, Amber Heard on the stand is making these completely outrageous claims, so I want to stick it to her. So, how about that for some juror motivation?
I mean, it could be, and Kurt, that's an extremely good point. Like that jury could go in and basically say, no, it's false. She lied. She was terrible. She got up there, and I knew she was lying the whole time. That's completely plausible.
So we are done with question 2. Question 2, Johnny Depp has unfortunately officially lost, based on what we believe, based on what the jury in the chat believe. So we are now headed to question 3. Question 3 is now posted in the chat. I am pinning it so we can have it up top. It is our pinned message. It says Q3. You click on that. It will take you to the form. I am going to go to the form right now so me and my guests can fill it out. And again, people, this is the last Johnny Depp claim. Then we work to Amber Heard's claims.
Yep.
So here we are. From
Want to award $1 in damages to the B. B has been
$1 in
defamed.
Damages.
The B has been defamed.
Because it stung the dog's foot.
Yeah, that's a false statement of fact.
It was a false statement of fact.
Yeah, give $1 to the B.
Did I put the make sure
and attorney's fees and punitive
sure
damages?
I put the right link again. Okay, so this link is the correct link.
Amber Heard has to work a beehive for a year.
With the mask no mask, no suit. She has to do it both without any of that. All right, guys, I gotta jump off. I'm sorry.
All right, take care, Rob.
Good seeing you guys. I'll see you guys
Thanks
later.
Thanks for stopping by, bro.
That was awesome. Good seeing you.
All right. So the next question. Let me look at the chat to make sure we're all good. It's being weird. No question. All right, let me try the link again. The link might be acting up. I'm gonna redo it again. Let's see. The form has a vantage point of seeing in real time institutions. What's going on with you, Link? This is Google Forms, people. Now we know why I don't generally use Google Forms. Let me try it again. The stupid link is acting up. I'm gonna delete this one quick. So, are you surprised about how the chat is actually saying he's going to lose the second claim?
No, I'm not surprised. It's a tougher question. I mean, I don't think Rob's analysis is necessarily wrong.
Yeah, I think Rob's analysis points us exactly to yeah. All right.
But
So I'm
you know, she got on the stand, and she's just like, it's not just domestic abuse, mind you. It's the most horrific domestic abuse anyone's ever described in the history of man. There's absolutely no support for it whatsoever. I'm like, well, she's now set the standard somewhere different, and I'm like, you know, I just want to punish her for it. Which, you know, I'm in the jury now, so I get to do that because I can. So yeah.
lucky guy. All right. So I'm loading it up one more time. Let me see if this one works. I StreamYard should have. I couldn't do this in a YouTube poll, which it's funny because we were trying this earlier. We were trying to do YouTube polls, and it just wasn't happening. So, come on. All right, here we go. I'm pinning it to the top chat right now, the link, and I'm clicking on it just to make sure the poll is acting right. Can people now do the responses? Let me make sure the settings on this are good too. Yep, so we're all good. You guys should be able to respond to this. Allow response editing, limit one response. Yep. All right, so we should be good. Is everybody getting a response? Can anybody? All right, there it is. Sorry. Now you guys should be able to respond. Keeps saying it's not allowing responses. It doesn't make any sense. Hey, Kirk, try to check to see if you can click the link and respond.
All right, hold on. I have to go there. It just says see previous responses.
Ah, this is ridiculous. All right.
Did you accidentally close did you close it?
I didn't close it at all. I did not.
There's one response I'm seeing.
Yes, it says one response. I think this is, you know what? I'm gonna make a copy. I'm just gonna do another one. All right. I think it might have closed by itself. I didn't touch it. I literally just made the poll. I mean, let's do this again. All right. Copy, shorten link. Sorry, people. I thought this was it, but it is making it even worse now. So let me do this one more time. It's funny because it's so crazy because we had all this stuff like prepared. All the links were here.
I'm sorry. It's the reality of things. Like my counter wasn't working earlier, and I had to, you know, put up a different counter and all kinds of stuff. So technology is a pain in the butt sometimes.
All right, try this one now, Kurt. See if you can. That one's the pin chat. That's the newest one. Hopefully that one will work.
No responses yet.
But does it work?
I mean, it's not asking me to give a response. It's not asking me to give a response.
This is strange because all the rest of them worked, but this one is not working. Resume collecting responses only for. Yeah. I think I might just have to move to the next one. Or we may just have to do this old school. I'll try one more time to see if I can
just put it in the YouTube chat, right? Just can you do a YouTube chat poll?
No, because it's 5 questions. YouTube chat
True.
only allows you to do 1 question at a time. This allows you to do 5.
Okay.
All right, yeah, I know what I'm gonna do. I'm just gonna redo this. All right, so we'll just do it on screen, and I'll just ask people to respond in the chat for this one. Shit, why?
You could use another third party like poll.me or something like that, maybe.
I did, but it just. Let me go to settings, make it as responses. Okay, responses. No collect email addresses. Send responses. No. Allow editing. Yes. Require sign in. No. Limit 1 response. Presentation. Nope. Everything seems good on the back end. Defaults. Blah blah blah. 1 response. Yeah. So I don't think we're going to be able to do this one. It's unfortunate, but you know what? Let's go through it. We'll go through this one, and then we'll see if the next one works. So this one first. The statement was made. Or published by Ms. Heard. I think this is a gimme. What do you think?
Yep.
Yeah, I think this is a gimme. Next one. Statement was about Mr. Depp. I think this is another gimme too. But this one comes down to it. This one is always going to come down to was it false? So that's the question I'm going to ask the chat. I'm going to put a chat poll in. So I'm just going to put a poll in.
Okay.
And because this is going to be the question. Was the statement false? And this is the yes or no. So chat, because we can't do the poll, I'm just putting in the chat. It's going to be a question, and I'm going to pin this poll because this is what it's going to be. Remove that one. So there's a poll in the chat. Was the statement false? And the statement is, I had the rear vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men of abuse. That is what we're talking about. So now, Kurt, what do you think? Because you were very skeptical about these earlier defamation claims. So what do you think about this one?
I think no.
You don't think it's false?
No.
So you're saying he's going to lose this one too?
Yep.
Ooh.
I'm a no on this one.
Now remember, chat, the rule is 90% wins. So if he gets 90%, then he wins. Why don't you believe this one is why don't you believe this one?
I mean, I just believe it's true. She did have, I just believe it's fundamentally true. She did have the vantage point of seeing in real time how institutions protect men accused of abuse. How the degree to which that protection existed is, maybe they didn't protect him, but she had the vantage point of being able to see how they did or not. So I just think it's fundamentally a true statement. I don't think that carries, I don't think there's any defamatory implication by it.
Oh. All right. Well, right now we get to see how the chat feels about it. Let me go back to the poll and see how our poll is doing. I'm going to give people exactly 2 more minutes before we close out the poll. And remember, 90% means Depp wins. Anything less than 90% says we don't have unanimity and Depp loses the claim.
Yeah.
So 2 more minutes. I tend to agree with you. If this is, I think, is the weakest of them all.
Yeah, I agree.
If I can say that. I think this is the weakest of them all. But we've already got, so just so everybody understands where we're at, Depp, we believe Depp has won one, and he's lost the second one, and now we're working on a third one. The poll that we tried for the Google slide is acting up, so we're doing just a poll about whether the statement is false, because that seems to be where everyone is at. I'm ending the poll now, and at the end of the poll, we have 84%. So Depp has lost the third claim.
Yep.
It's about the same as before, 83 to 16%. So third claim is no good. Depp has lost that claim. So he's won the first, but that's kind of what we predicted anyway, right? We predicted he would win the first one, the sexual assault one, and lose the second two. How do you feel about this? Because I think you came in thinking he'd win all 3. But how do you feel about this? So the chat, remember, it's the people out there. It's not even us. You guys are saying all together collectively that you don't believe he's going to win the 2 claims of abuse, but he's going to win the one of sexual violence.
I'll tell you what, if I was a juror in this case, my initial vote would be no for number 3. But at the same time, it's like I'm not going to die on that hill for Amber Heard, because of how horrible a person she is. So if the rest of the jury is like yes, I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm not going to. I mean, if I'm the last man standing on that, I will cave so fast, just because I've already said yes on number 1. So at that point, it's a little bit academic. So,
Well, it's funny because one thing, now my editor, who is fantastic, has just fixed the forms for Amber. So I'm looking at it, and they are actually good. So
excellent.
now we get to move to the Amber side. So just to catch everybody up where we're at, because I'm sorry we had a little technical. So the first 2 claims for Johnny Depp. The first claim, we're saying he's going to win, and he won pretty convincingly. The 2 other claims are saying he's going to lose, and the prediction is about $7 million that he's going to win.
The difference between 2 and 3 is if Rob and I are on that jury and we disagree about 2, I'm going to sit down and we're going to talk about it for a while. If we disagree about 3, I'm like, yeah, whatever you want.
You're crazy, bro. All right, so now we're moving to Amber Heard's claims. So Amber Heard's claims are simple. She is saying her claim is that a special verdict on which Amber Heard bases her claims of defamation against Johnny Depp. Here's her statement. As to the statement appearing in the April 8th, 2020 edition, online edition of the Daily Mail, it says, Amber Heard and her friends in the media used fake sexual violence allegations as both a sword and a shield, depending on their needs. They have selected some of her sexual violence hoax facts as a sword, inflicting them on the public and Mr. Depp. Now, people have to understand this statement by Amber Heard was, by this statement being alleged to be made by Johnny Depp was actually made by his attorney. So you got to have understand this was made by his attorney. So if you believe his attorney, he made this statement through his attorney, that then you can get Johnny Depp through implication, and we'll go through the elements because the elements are the same on all of these. So the elements here are a little different than Depp's elements. So here's element one: Mr. Walderman, while acting as an agent for Mr. Depp, made or published the statements. That's the first question you're going to have to answer. The second is a statement about Miss Heard. The statement was seen by someone other than Miss Heard, publication, and the statement is false. So again, it's the same elements, just stated a little differently because it's not by implication. It's just saying he made it, except for the first one, which is going to say it was Waldman, agent for Depp, and then we have the actual malice question. So this is on the form that is going to be in the chat right now that we've tested, that I know that works. So we're not going to have this problem again. I'll give the chat 5 minutes to fill out the form, and we'll see if the chat believes Johnny Depp is going to win. If Amber Heard is going to win her counterclaim. There it is. So what do you think? So Kurt, you ready to go through it?
Oh yeah.
All right. So here we go. Let me remove this from here. Let me add this to stream. Let me add our thing to stream so we can see. This is Amber Heard number one, her counterclaim. So we're doing Amber Heard's counterclaims, people. So counterclaim one: Amber Heard and her friends in the media use fake sexual violence allegations as both a sword and shield, depending on their needs. They have selected some of her sexual violence hoax facts as a sword, inflicting them on the public. So first, Mr. Walderman, while acting as an agent for Mr. Depp, made or published the statements. What do you think?
Yeah.
Do you think yes? You think Walderman was acting as an agent for Johnny?
Yeah.
Yes. All right. Moving to number two. The statement was about Miss Heard.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's easy. It mentions her by name.
Uh-oh. I got to put it in response form. Sorry. So saying yes for one, yes for two. Number three. The statement was seen by someone other than Miss Heard.
Yeah.
Daily Mail. 4. The statement was false.
Fuck no.
You said a statement is true.
It's very true. It's extremely true. It's exactly what happened.
So
it's capital T true. Get lost.
Do you find that Mr. Heard? Do you find that Miss Heard has proven by clear and convincing evidence that Mr. Depp acted with actual malice?
No.
So, but if you're saying it's true, it's
no,
right?
No, absolutely not. Because he reviewed so much stuff. He reviewed all this. No, absolutely not. No.
Well, let's see what the jury thinks in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. That's it. So, jury, we're about to see what you thought about Amber Heard's counterclaim. Almost 1,000 responses. Not receptive anymore. Question 1. Mr. Walderman acting as an agent of Mr. Depp. 52% says no. Counterclaim is already over. We couldn't get half the people to agree to that.
We couldn't get past boo. Yeah.
Number 2. The statement was about Miss Heard.
It didn't mention her, so
98%.
Didn't mention her, so
the statement was seen by someone other than 97%.
Yeah.
The statement was false. 94% of you think the statement is actually true. Wow. That's amazing. So Amber Heard loses on her first claim. Is that where we're at?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's where we're at. I think she loses the first claim. So were you surprised at this one?
Fuck no. It's extremely true.
It's a true statement. You just, it's true. It's true.
Rock solid guarantee. Put it in the Bible, man.
Well, so, but man, she has, it's, I think it's fascinating. She has 3 claims. He has 3 claims. So Amber Heard is 0
I
for
bet
1.
you that's not coincidental.
You don't think it's coincidental?
No. I think she copies him, dresses like him, uses the same numbers of claims as him. I think she's sending messages through parallelism that she wants him back. I think she should be sent to an island.
Well, she was
alone.
begging for him at one point in time, wasn't she?
I think she should be sent to Johnny Depp's island and made to stay there.
She's on the island. So I'm removing this, people. So we're saying Amber Heard is losing her first counterclaim. But will she be losing her second counterclaim? Here it is. Putting the link in the chat. Pinning it for everybody to see. And me and Uncivil are going to check it out and go and see if we can.
Maybe we can put her on that island that they put Jack Sparrow on for nice parallelism or something.
Here is the I forgot the name. What do they call the island? This is Amber Heard's number 2. So let's look at the statements. Let me put up on the screen. All right. So here's the statement that Amber Heard, quite simply, this was an ambush, a hoax. They set Mr. Depp up by calling the cops, but the first attempt didn't do the trick. The officers came to the penthouses, thoroughly searched and interviewed, and left after seeing no damage to face or property. So Amber and her friends spilled a little wine, roughed the place up, and got their story straight under the direction of a lawyer and publicist, and then placed a second call to 911. So now, Mr. Walderman, was he acting as Mr. Depp's agent when he published those statements?
Yes.
Oof. Were the statements about Amber Heard?
Yes.
Were the statements seen by someone other than Miss Heard?
Yes.
The statement was false.
No. Lol.
Yeah. So obviously, if you're saying no, we don't have actual malice.
Right.
That's where we're at. All right. So we're on the second counterclaim. We're going to let people go on. Well,
give me 1 second.
Rob coming in hot. I had to remove him. But I'm going to lower your volume too, Rob. You are coming in way too hot. There we go. StreamYard is great.
My name's John, by the way.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep calling you Rob because we just had Rob. I'm like, Rob. But now I see you because I didn't see your face. John is here. What's going on, John? So we're going over
good.
we're just going over the verdict form. You came at the last 2. So John is here. We're looking at this statement and we're seeing if Amber Heard can win her counterclaim for this statement. So we've just gone over the statement, and just so everybody knows, each one of the questions, is it more likely than not? Is it more likely than not they're true? Is it more likely than not that? So that's the burden. So I'm going to give people a couple more seconds before we end and look at the responses.
That's
and John, you
except
can look at the
for the
responses with
actual
us.
malice. That has to be clear and convincing, no?
Yes, and it's on the chart. Yeah, on this chart it says actual malice must be clear and convincing, which is there's some evidence to say it happened. So here it is. They say I'm pulling in a lane. That's funny. It's probably true though. It's probably true. So here are the responses. I'm going to stop in 3, 2, 1. Here we go. And here we are. 1,100 responses. Summary. Was Waldman acting as Mr. Depp's agent? You can't even, half the people say no. So she's lost his claim if we can't get past the first one, right? Because it has to be yes on all of them. And also, John, we're looking at 90%. We're treating 90% as unanimous. So anything less than 90% is we say she lose. So she's lost this one. What do you think about this? Do you think Walderman was acting as Depp's agent, John?
I think it's a matter of law. that's a really tough question that is tough to throw to a jury. And was he acting as his agent? I would say probably.
Yeah.
Oh,
I would say more likely than not he was acting as Depp's agent.
ooh.
Because I don't think that his comments were so out of left field. They were for his idea of the benefit of his principal. So I actually think that they should lose on the agency question.
All right. Well, so right now the chat, she's lost her second claim. We got to look at the third claim, but we'll look at the rest of them. Was a statement about Amber Heard? Yes, 99% of the people say that. The statement was seen by someone else. 98% of the people say that. So these okay. And was the claim false? So she loses on 2 of these, right? And there's no actual malice. And so 3, no actual malice by clear and convincing. The statement was actually true. Most people are saying, and Waldman wasn't acting. So Amber Heard is 0 for 2. Depp is, and just so
Can
you
you
also
go
know,
back to the
John.
specific statement real quick? Just if
Oh,
you
sure,
don't
sure,
mind.
sure. No problem. Here it is, right here. So it seems
I don't know how you can prove that statement false. I don't know how you can do that.
The statement seems true. Oh, thank you for the generous super chat, Walter. We really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
And by the way, the
Yeah.
statement doesn't have to be true. They just have to fail to prove it false.
Yeah.
And I don't see how you prove that one false.
Nope.
Well,
That was the
Amber,
testimony of the officers.
yeah.
Yep. And if you could, you'd never get to actual malice.
Yeah.
So are we being too harsh? So we're saying Amber. So just as a recap, the chat has said overwhelmingly the first statement about sexual violence. They said Johnny Depp was defamed and has won everything up and down. So that's a winner for Johnny. And we're at about $7 million that they still will give Johnny for that. The other 2 statements, the chat believes that Johnny didn't win. The chat denied him those other 2 claims, the abuse claims.
I've
So
been
he
saying that
lost
for 2
those
weeks.
2. Huh?
I've been saying that for 2 weeks.
But this is the chat has denied him those
No, I
last 2
know.
claims.
I agree with them.
And now for Amber Heard, her first and second claims have been denied by our jury of the chat. So we're going into her third claim to see if she can have any semblance of winning anything. So we're going into number 3. Let us first look at the verdict form. So she's lost the first 2, and now we're going to number 3. Number 3 is a simpler statement. It says, "We have reached the beginning of the end of Miss Heard's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp."
We did reach the beginning of the end. That's just true on every possible level.
So let me put.
All right, did I spoil the ending?
No. It's not the ending. We're just talking it out. So here's the statement: "We have reached the beginning of the end of Miss Heard's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp." So that's where we're at, and that is what we have to figure out. So
Is calling
go ahead.
something a hoax a statement of fact? When did that happen?
That's a good point.
That seems like quintessential opinion language.
That's
Well-
a good point too.
Well, first, before we start talking about it, let me give it to the people so they can figure it out, because they've heard the closing arguments, they've heard the statements, they've heard all the evidence, and now they're going to make their decision to let us know what we're doing here. So here is, I'm removing the last one because you can't vote on that one anyway. And this is the last question of the night before we answer a couple of these super chats. Replace pin message, and there we go. Now you guys can click on the pin message too and answer the questions if you like, but I like to do them like this so we can answer them out. So we'll actually, I'm not going to go to the form. I'll just go straight here and we can answer them here. So question 1 about, remember this statement: "We have reached the beginning. We have reached the beginning of the end of Miss Heard's abuse hoax against Johnny Depp." Question 1: Mr. Waldman, was he acting as Johnny Depp's attorney? Was he acting as Johnny Depp's agent when he made or published the statement?
Yeah.
What do you think? Yes.
I'm gonna stand by my original point. Yes.
So we're all saying yes. So 3 yeses. The statement was about Miss Heard.
Yeah.
I think we're
Yes.
there. The statement was seen by someone other than Miss Heard.
Yeah.
Yes.
So yes, yes, yes. The statement was false.
No.
No.
You guys are both no's for this statement. Let's see.
It
Yes,
can't be
I think
proven
so.
false.
It can't be proven false. Yeah, it can't.
It's
be
a
proven
statement
false.
of opinion.
So we don't even get to actual malice. All right. So you are saying all the way through, it's done. Wow. Oof. I don't know.
That's the problem, is that they keep tying their horse to this hoax word. But hoax by its very nature needs to imply some sort of intention or something that requires a statement of opinion. Calling something a hoax is not a statement of falsity. Calling her a liar would be a different story, but saying it's a hoax, there's so many aspects to that.
I'm not sure if I agree with that, to be honest. I just think that, in fact, he's right. I think it might be a statement of fact. I disagree with it for that reason.
Okay.
Helen says,
That's-
"Love you." I'm
Go
sorry,
ahead.
just read this. Helen, thank you for the generous super chat, Helen. Helen said, "Love your coverage. Thank you, Nate. As a Brit, disappointed that the UK trial seemed to have been so unfair to JD. Though we had thought we had better justice here. Maybe I'm naive. No,
Apparently, your country sucks.
nobody. I'm not sure to say that. Boo, you.
Okay, I'm the Irish guy here, and I don't have. There's no love lost between me and the United Kingdom, but they have just a different standard when it comes to public figures and defamation. It's just a very different ballgame there.
Yeah. Let's go to the poll. Let's go to the poll. Let's see. Now we've given you guys how we felt about this last statement. So I'm not too sure if Amber's going to win this one, but let's see what the people have said, because it's really you guys who are going to determine what's up with this last one. So I'm sharing the screen. Amber's last gasp. We've said she's lost everything else. Responses are coming in. It's looking bad already. 3, 2, 1. Say your piece, or we're about to stop accepting responses now. All right, let's do it. Number 1. So she's lost already. Here we go. They're saying it's not even. He's not his agent.
I don't understand the agency. I don't understand where they're coming with the agency argument. That seems like easy to win on the law.
Yeah,
and she lost in all 3 of those, and I'm not quite there in that camp.
Yeah. She's so just as a technical matter, the chat says Amber Heard's lost all her claims. All her claims are lost, and Waldman, it was not acting as Johnny Depp's agent. So that's where we're at here. Let's go to the next one. That's 55%. 97% said the statement was about Amber. 97% said the statement was seen by other people. 94%. There's still like this. There's so many people. So the statement was false. So everybody agrees the statement is not. Well, the agency is a iffy one, but this is where it seems like she's going to be losing. The statement is not false. It's true. And then the last, no actual malice. So Amber Heard is 0 for 3. She loses everything. So based on this and the chat, it seems like we're saying Amber Heard's counterclaims are being thrown out the window, and Johnny Depp is only going to win on one claim. That seems to be what we all predicted. What do you guys think?
I think 2's in the air. For that matter, I think 3's in the air, because I don't know if the jury's going to care that much on the finer points by the time they're done. But
Yeah.
if they don't find one, I would be surprised.
Oh wow.
Hey,
Oof.
that was always sort of my opinion as well. I think you were the one that said it first, Nate, and I've agreed with you the entire case long. Claim 1, probably, yeah, Depp wins. 2 and 3 is kind of a toss up to the jury. I think her counterclaims are just dead in the water. But I think maybe I'm just echoing what you said from your initial predictions, and that was a good insight.
Yeah.
Well, you don't mine or Kurt's?
Yours, Nate.
Oh, yeah. I thought it was going to be a tough case for him. I just don't. I just don't now. I thought it was going to be a tough, and it seems like if and the one thing I do like about doing it this way is because us as lawyers we look at it in such a legal, technical way, and we have all this experience with the law.
Yep.
But the chat doesn't have any of that experience. They just kind of saw everything that we saw. So I think it's a better gauge of how the juries may be looking at it than we are. And it was to be honest with you, I don't want to be naive, but we have a pretty pro Johnny following.
Yeah.
And for them to lose, and for the chat, this chat to say he loses on claims 2 and 3, I think shows a pretty good level of objectivism, right? They're looking at this objectively and saying, well, these, we believe he's going to win on that claim, but these other two we're not too sure of, And I think it's a reasonable conclusion to come to. What do you guys think?
Go ahead, Kurt. I'll let you take that one first.
I think that's right. I think they're being reasonably fair in their analysis. What they're saying is making sense. I'm glad that they're thinking about some of these issues a little bit, and I appreciate that. It was like 85% or something. Yes, on that second one, and there is division of opinion even among us. John agrees with Rob. Nate, I think you wound up agreeing with me. I'm not sure.
Yeah, I did. I might agree with you.
I'm not sure what it says about me as a lawyer, but there's a significant part of me is like I can't be bothered to care, which doesn't sound like the right answer for a learned man. But then again, as a juror, I'm in a different role, so I don't know. But yeah.
And I think if I can just add real quick, just for the benefit of the chat and for everybody, it is one of the things that I genuinely, and I've said this multiple times, I do actually believe in the jury system. I do actually believe that jurors try to come to the right answer. I think the chat's trying to come to the right answer, regardless of what their presuppositions might be. So that actually, to me, the idea that the chat kind of split in a way that makes sense to me legalistically, that gives me a lot of faith in humanity, honestly.
It's very reassuring. Thank you.
Yeah, it was good. It was good to see. It was good to see. This is for Rob, but Rob is gone. I'm sorry, Rob left. So let me rapid fire some super chats to see if I can knock some of these down. You guys are more than welcome to stay, but we're just going to answer some of the most profound questions and get out of here. We have a hard time at 10 o'clock, so if you guys want to stay, that's more than fine. And shoot some of the crap before we get out of here. If not, it's always one. Thank you guys so much for coming by and going through this exercise with me. But you're welcome to stay. I always feel like I hate the hostage, the hostage for the super chats.
Yeah.
Like I'm reading super chats. Like I
guess I'm going to take this opportunity to bail because I could use to sleep.
I'll stick around for a few minutes.
Right.
I feel bad that I caught such a tail end.
I'll talk to you later.
It's more than fine. Take care, Kurt. It's more than fine, and it's good because I know a lot of people have sent us some great questions, so I want to just try to see if I can get to them. So I'm doing rapid fire, people. We're going through these fast. Have you seen the TMZ interview where they admit it was her that leaked it? No, I did not see that. I know that they were fighting that tooth and nails. Search YouTube Amber Heard Johnny Depp. All right, I'm going to check it out. Uncivil did a video on how Judge A made mistake on jury selections. Yeah, I remember. I did see that. They clarified them for, but those those things happen because they're people. Marriage only break it. No, that's what they're trying to do. Thank you for the 317. Watching the trial reaffirms my choice to go to go to law school, but makes me wish I didn't wait so late in life to go. Thanks for the commentary. No problem. And hey, it's not depending on when you go. It's as long as you go and you do something you love. Yeah, just you're doing something you love. This is are those abusive things JD did to Amber Heard abuse or reaction to being abused? Good question, but that's what the jury has to decide. If he was a woman in the situation, would people be talking about it as abuse or mutual abuse? No.
It would be this would not even be a case.
What's your opinion of this angle? That's exactly what we've been saying all this time. That our opinion on this case is simple: is that if the genders were reversed, this wouldn't even be a question. We wouldn't be talking about it in the way we're talking about it. We would not be talking about it in the way we're talking about it. And you're right, Nick. Nick said Camille. Nick Nick says yes. It needs Camille needs a shirt. Love the convos, debates between different personalities and beliefs, all lawyers and points of view from regular people like Nurse Liz, Colonel Kurtz, James. Debates are obvious, or OBS and health people. Oh yeah, all right, I get it, and I know what I think you're saying. Please disagree and still respectful. Yes, that's what Lord Tube is. We disagree with each other, but we also respect his opinion. That's why this little nonsense beef that happens. But whenever you have a large group, people are definitely going to disagree all the time. So, oh,
And that's healthy.
yes. So, because it's not groupthink. It's not groupthink. So, thank you guys for the super chats. Please disagree and have miscommunications. It's human. Yeah, but that's
Well said.
what happened. Even, but it's awkward sometimes at the beginning. Sometimes it's awkward just to go through it. So a criminal attorney react to AH close. He says Rotten Board sounds like he doesn't even believe Amber Heard. I was getting that too. Did you see Rotten Board's close?
I did, and again, I think that he made the right decision tactically to go on the technical, but I think that that's because the facts were tough to sell. And I apologize if the fan is getting too
Oh, no,
loud.
that's
I'm
all right.
going to try and mute myself.
No, it's just fine. I can't hear it, even though mine is on the background. It's 90 degrees outside, fellas, on the East Coast. So you're more than fine, John. Oof. You were President Court. What is your general opinion? Oh, this is for Rob. Rob is not here, but Rob believes Johnny's gonna win. But Rob is on. He's like you guys. He believes the first claim and not the other two. So they can't even. They say even if one act of violence against Amber happened, why doesn't that apply to JD? Because JD is suing, saying that he never abused her. So that's why it doesn't apply. It's not the reverse. If she was suing JD, then that would apply, but she's not. It's the reverse. So she just had to prove it happened once. And the line of reasoning, think about this. If you did something once, you're considered to be that thing. So if you murdered somebody one time, so the rest of your life, you're going to be considered a murderer, right? If you blanked somebody with the R word, you're going to be considered a blankist for the rest of your life. So if you abused your wife, you're considered a wife beater for the, it's that, wife beat if you do it once or 20 times. The first time.
Isn't that such a weird thing because we don't accept
is.
propensity evidence, but we still label people as felons or whatever it might be for their
Based
entire
on
lives.
one appearance. Yeah, based on one. It's sad, but that's essentially what they're playing for. Tracy says, my co-ed only mentions physical and sexual abuse, though. Never mention emotional, verbal abuse. That's true. But I think the power of that is that even though that wasn't mentioned, it's still an argument for the jury, right? Because Virginia does encompass all of these different varieties of abuse within domestic violence. So if you're talking about domestic violence, you are talking about because it can be faceted. And even Dr. Curry, who was testifying for Johnny Depp, mentioned that abuse was not only physical, sexual, and verbal, but it can also be emotional. And she said the magic words, economic abuse. I'm not going to give you this money. So that's Johnny Depp's own team saying that. Number 5, Isabel says 100% Depp, but after filling out juror forms, they both lose. Malice was obvious with the TRO article, more like monetary gain. Damage was already done. I agree with you, but I don't know. What do you think about this one? 100% Depp. After filling out the jury forms, they both lose. I can see how somebody come to that.
That's, I mean, I could see, you're both awful. Just let's leave you where we found you. I could see that as not being a totally ridiculous conclusion to draw. I just wouldn't necessarily find that myself.
Yeah. And actual malice is not about bad intentions. Actual malice is simply, did you know it was false? Did you know it was false when you said it and said it anyway? Or if you just recklessly disregard the truth. You're fine, John. It's. I got the hum behind me too, so don't worry
Sorry,
about it.
I'm trying. I'm trying to
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
out some way to get better ventilation.
No. You're fine because you could be. I hear what you, but it's so light that
Okay.
you don't have anything to worry about. Did someone state that abuse is repeated cases of violence, not just one case? Yes, Dr. Curry did mention that. We're not talking about one incident. We're talking about multiple incidents. Granted, I think might have been Hughes. I think it was Curry, but it could have been Hughes. That's what loses me. That's what loses me for this one-time argument. Any thoughts? I'm agreeing with you. I think the one-time argument is BS, but I think something I could sell. If I'm an attorney, I can sell that in court. What do you think?
Yeah, I think I agree with you that it's something that maybe you could sell. I don't think that it's legally valid. I think that it's perfectly reasonable if under an extremely stressful situation somebody snaps. That doesn't mean that you should be labeled as a habitual abuser. I just don't believe in that personally, but I can see other folks having a disagreement with that.
Yeah, it's tough. But let's say if somebody did murder someone, are they a murderer for the rest of their life?
Well, if they get brought up on charges for a second murder, you can't use the first one to prove the second.
Yeah, I'm just talking about in a defamation sense.
Yeah, yes, I think I mean, isn't that the whole idea? There are some people that are basically defamation proof that
Yeah.
because of their behavior, they've done X, Y, and Z to where there's almost nothing you can say about them that would actually be defamatory to their character.
Oh yeah. There are some people who are just that horrible. Like Alex Jones, I think would fit in that category, where you could think
Yeah.
pretty much the most horrible things about him, and because his reputation is so bad, so he's essentially defamation proof. And
Well,
says
again, what are you going to say about Jeffrey Dahmer that actually hurts his reputation?
reputation, right? Yeah, that's true. And says, "You guys are awesome. By the way, did you see Brandon Rogers' parody of Elaine? No, I am going to watch it because everybody's been talking about it. Please consider signing a change.org petition to remove Amber Heard as ACL. She's still ACLU ambassador. Oh yeah,
Is she
I'm
still
gonna be looking at that.
affiliated?
Yeah, she said this is right here. Is
Oh my god.
women's rights. I'm gonna check that out. Did the jury respond to their referring to the statements as Depp Waldman statements? I found it very patronizing. I don't know. I don't. I'd have to ask Rob because they were in there. So, malicious
Hey,
says one. Will the
Yeah, go on.
jury weigh more Rothenborn or AH2? Does JD doesn't deserve the op-ed, but doesn't he still appear? What is it? Spoiled? Spoil it? Spoil it. 3. Can jury judge warn him after verdict? What will the jury weigh more, Rottenberg on VAH? I just don't know. It's really up to the jury. He's making arguments. She's giving testimony. The JD doesn't deserve the op-ed. I agree with you with that. And the last one, the jury one. I'm not sure what they would have to warn them of. Sorry, it's rapid fire, so I couldn't answer that last one. I watched a YouTuber named Rachel Ann, who has an actual bruise, and she did the step and cover it up. The step and cover it. The steps. She did the steps to cover it up. Sorry. Excuse me. It still came through. She did one on her eye and on her leg. Worth checking out.
Hang
So
in
you're
there, Nate.
saying
We need you.
Yeah. Sorry, I need some water. So it seems like. So I gotta check this out. Her name is Rachel Ann. Let me take this note. Rachel Ann, because it's hard for me, but I don't know if Rachel Ann is a professional makeup artist, because that's what seems like. Just being fair to Amber's side, she may have different resources, right? Than Ann may have, but I'll check it out though. Style, Chew California, Chew CA. I'm not sure it's CA, but I'm assuming Camille. We ask you to do the right thing. Rottenborn, overbearing. You must find for my clients, no matter what you think about her. And Elaine, no comment. I think RB Rottenborn style is better in criminal law. You weren't here when they were doing the you weren't here when they were doing the closings, but Rottenborn did have a better. I think Rottenborn had the best style.
I
But I
thought
think
Rottenborn was the best closing you could have gotten.
yeah,
I did watch the closings, and I thought Rottenborn, if Rottenborn's strategy was actually carried through this entire trial, I think it would be a very different outcome.
Secret Me says you decide has turned into Nate and Rob opinion. Yeah, this is what we do. We're giving our opinion while we fill out the form too, but we're letting you fill out the form. Not a fun game anymore. All right. Well, I don't know if you wanted to sit here and be quiet while we have people fill out the form, but this was always part of the game. And again, think about this. Out of the 6 claims that were put up on the screen, only one won. One claim. The chat, only one of those claims went. So if we were so in the tank for Johnny Depp, we did a bad job because he only won one claim. There's only one claim even made it. So yeah,
Maybe the system actually works. I don't know. Occasionally.
Yeah, I don't know. Again, thank you, Matt, for the $50 super chat. We read this one earlier. Matt, thanks again. We really appreciate it. Thanks for becoming a new member, Ruby. We saw this one too. This one says, I had to sub to just talk to Kurt and Rob. Nate, you're great. Thanks. Thank you, Judy. Thank you. Rob, remember the ACLU email where Amber Heard wanted JD's name back in the op-ed? Come on, you are right. And I totally forgot it. Rob was making a point that he was making a point. I forget what was the point, but it was the point about whether the op-ed about abuse was about Johnny. But this is, I think, the proper counter because the ACLU did say Amber Heard, and actually, wasn't her first draft with his name in it? And then
I think the first couple drafts was the ACLU, and they did actually, I think, include his name. And I think that after review by their attorneys, they're like, maybe we shouldn't do that.
Yeah. Question: Do you think that JD's team had JD go up again, knowing Amber needs the last word? Yes, I think that's plausible. I think that's plausible. I think
a good bait.
Get in. Yeah, and she did what they hoped. Seems more age talks. Yes, but I still think I wouldn't have put Johnny back up. I thought we were winning enough. It's like, we're up by 50. Why am I putting my star player back on the field? Right? He can only get hurt. He can't help the game anymore. Right? I'm up by 50 with 2 minutes left in the basketball game. Michael Jordan should not be in the game. Right? He just shouldn't be in the game.
Yeah, I agree. And I think that if they were going to put him back up, they should have made more of it. And I don't think they scored a ton with bringing him.
Yeah, agreed. You're wrong. I don't get how they get emotional abuse from the messages he sent to other people. That's true. But again, I don't see how to get there either. What do you think about that, John? He sends messages somewhere, some other people, and they're saying it's emotional abuse to Amber.
Unless she has some reason to know those messages, which in a lot of those cases, I don't know how she would have become aware of them. Yeah, it's the classic, can you assault somebody who doesn't notice that you're trying to throw a bottle at them? Like, it's your knowledge of the threat or the damage that is kind of key in that causational structure. I just don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. This is tougher than it looks. This is tougher. This is a lot tougher than it looks. Hold on. I lost my place with some super chats here. All right. I think
those texts, by the way, though, they're great fodder for the courtroom drama. I just don't think I don't understand the legal relevance.
Fable says, have we seen anything to give us confidence Amber could even pay any sizable judgment? She can't. It's not going to work. It's not going to happen. If she loses, I'm sure she'll declare bankruptcy immediately. Seems pointless to speculate on a specific number. Possibly. But I think Johnny's going to win his money. I think Johnny, and since it's an intentional tort, you can't discharge it in bankruptcy. That's something you got to pay. No, no, compensatory.
Honestly,
If
I
you
think
can't
it'd be cool with a.
punitive,
I
right?
think it'd be cool with a.
Compensatory you can
Punitive.
discharge. You can't discharge punitive.
Correct if they get there.
Yeah.
I don't know if you're gonna get a major punitive verdict, but I guess we'll see.
Lean says she's going to give 25. She would give him 25 million because he had to pay for the defense of 7 to 25 million. So 7 of 7 million, so 25 seems fair. Well, you may want to double it too, maybe 14. 7 million that she paid and the 7 million for his attorney's fees, right?
Tri-
Double the 14
Triple
million.
damages, brother. Go three
This one's
times.
Heather Heather's at 22 million. Or paying Johnny. You guys are giving Johnny a lot of money. Please, can we get Alita, Kurt, and Rob and Runkle do a live stream? Please, no hard feelings. Okay. Yeah. Oh yeah, yeah. They're going to be up tomorrow. Because don't forget tomorrow's verdict watch, so we're going to be all verdict watching. Question for the essay title: if she didn't write the title, we can't say it was designed and intended by Amber Heard, can we? Yes, you can, because that's what republication is, unfortunately. And plus, she wrote the body of the article. So by republishing, and that's why she had to write that little blurb that she wrote, because that's trying to reach the new audience. So yeah, it could definitely go that way. Oof. So let me try to get a couple of more of these in before we have to get out of here. I used to not be sold on the second statement, but I think the TMZ evidence proved she couldn't have felt the full force of wrath because she called them. That's a good, interesting. I like
That's a
that.
reasonable perspective. It's
Yes,
not the argument they made, but maybe it's one they should have.
that would be a good argument. Yeah, I like it. I actually like it. Interactive chat and not just SC to grift. Thanks. Please explain preponderance as opposed to beyond a reasonable doubt. I got that. I didn't think I would get that. Preponderance of the evidence is more likely than not where beyond a reasonable doubt, you're like 80, 90% that you believe that it's good. So preponderance of evidence is really, really low. It's more likely than not versus it's probable. You're talking about probable.
Yes.
This is probably what happened versus it's likely happened or not.
Preponderance is 50% in a feather, and there's not a lawyer alive that can actually explain what beyond a reasonable doubt is supposed to mean.
Yeah, 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 yeah. Let me see. Let me see if I can get a couple of more of these. And also, this is factual. She's a public figure of DV. Um, did she represent DV, the face of the culture's wrath? Where is the data to support that as well? I don't think that's a data. I don't think she was doing that for data. I'm assuming, again, they were writing an op-ed to promote Aquaman, right? This op-ed was to do two things. It was to be a hit piece against Trump and promote Aquaman. And I think that's what happened here is that, you know, it's it's messed up, but I think those are the honest facts. What do you think? The op-ed was a promotion for Aquaman, right? To try to get more eyes on Aquaman. What do you think?
I think that it tied very much into kind of the new corporate speak narrative. I don't know how effective that has been in retrospect, but I would agree with you. I think the op-ed was more about her getting the ACLU ambassadorship and just trying to raise her personal public profile than it was even anything related to Aquaman. But that's just maybe my opinion.
Yeah, yeah. T. Marie says 150 million if making a statement about adjustments. 14 million make the statement. I'm about Amber Heard greed with divorce settlement. 1G, 2NG, 3G, G as just Johnny Depp was not protected. Hmm. People don't want to give this guy a lot of money. I hope when I sue somebody, they'll be looking to pay me because Johnny Depp.
I was gonna say, I thought Ben Chu did a great job saying it's not about the money. It's about just the reputation.
Yeah, yeah. I think so too. 14.99 Australian. Everyone should really wake up. What will be unleashed by her if she wins? Have you all thought about that? She will not stop hurting people. She is not guilty of anything but getting with an evil human. So he is not guilty of anything except getting with the evil human. Yeah, if she wins, if she wins,
If she wins, I appeal immediately. It writes itself.
yeah, but uh, this is going to be interesting. That will be interesting because I would like to see how the reaction of everyone else because the reaction is going to be crazy. Again, Walter,
Yeah.
thank you again for this very generous super chat. I really appreciate it. Leah says, if you three lawyers can't figure out how to answer this, can you imagine the jury trying to vote on this? Yes. And
But
that's
that's
what we
what's
did
beautiful about it is we want the chat. We want the average person to choose our fates, not a handful of idiot lawyers.
Amber Heard's second claim is false because the police body cam didn't see spilt wine, thus they didn't spill it. Thus they didn't spill it. Then called the cops for a second time. Am I mistaken? Well, the cops the first time did this check of the area. They found nothing. So you're not wrong. The cops the first time they did check of the area. There was no damage. Then a second set of cops came with the body cameras and didn't see any damage. So the first set of cops they went through the rooms and everything, went through the house and saw no damage. The second set of cops came in and was like, hey, we called before us, everything. And they're like, oh yeah, the other cops just came, they left, nothing else happened after that. So the other cops didn't do an extensive evaluation, but they still looked at her and did the body cam and didn't see her. So yes, so that I think the second statement with the cops, yeah, she loses that because the cops are just I believe the cops. I honestly believe the cops. I don't know what else to tell people. Calling it a hoax. Yeah, calling it a hoax is refuting her claims. Isn't that defamation?
No,
It could be. It could be. I would think it could be. But it's an opinion.
I'm pretty firm on that one.
Oh, you know what? You're right. I'm sorry. You're right.
If I say you're full of garbage,
it's an opinion. You're right.
That's an opinion.
You're
That's
right.
not a
calling it a
fact
hoax is
claim.
an opinion. Calling it a hoax.
I see where that could be kind of borderline, but calling something a hoax is an opinion statement. It's not a fact claim.
See, you see, was it Hoolingen? You got me thinking. I got to think about this one tonight because I think that's a really good one. Helen, we read this one. Love your coverage as a Brit. Yes. I don't know how they got it wrong either, Helen, but they got it wrong. Based on what I'm looking at. Based on what I'm looking at. So listen, Rob. I keep calling you Rob. John. It's because Rob was in here and I kept calling him John, and now I'm calling you Rob. I don't know. I'm going. My mind is going crazy.
I don't hate the confusion.
Oh my God, CB $10. I say no to agency because just because my lawyer said it doesn't mean I wanted them to. But I am not going to argue in front of people with my lawyer. AH didn't prove JD told Walderman to say it. But CB, I'm going to
That's not agency though.
But I'm going to push back on one thing. And I'm going to push back on the fact that Johnny Depp was in the room when Walderman made the statements to the Daily Mail.
Yeah. Good point.
That it's hard
he
for
had
me
an
to
opportunity
say
to disavow it.
Yeah, does it give my if my lawyer's telling the Daily Mail and I'm in the room, what's he in there for? What are we in there for together? And he was working. At that time, he was working for Johnny Depp as his attorney in that room making statements to the Daily Mail. I think agency is something that is not an easy win for Johnny. But I think he can win on it, but I don't think it's easy enough. And I don't think Amber's team hammered home enough the fact that he was in the room. Because I remember hearing that from the judge. So that was an issue for them.
That's well said.
We say Johnny Depp can win only on count one. But if she lied about SA, surely the jury can assume she lied about DV, which could give JD the win on the other two counts too. Yes, correct. And that's the point Camille was making. Camille was saying, this is Amber Heard. You can't just take off a piece of it. You got to take the whole thing. And if one of this is a lie, then we throw the whole thing out. And the other side is saying, No, we just need one of these pieces to be okay. And we could throw the rest of it out, but as long as we have one piece, we're good. So yeah, this is a very astute recognition of the arguments and how they're trying to change things. If Walderman was JD's agent, then then was he also the agent for his other clients as well while making the statements? But again,
No,
those other clients weren't in the room when he made the statements. Those
it also
other
wasn't
clients weren't in the room.
it also wasn't in furtherance of presumably their interests.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. See, I think that's a fact that a lot of people may have missed, but that shows you how bad the defense made that fact.
I didn't even think about that one, and thank you for pointing it out because that does change my analysis, and I think it makes it stronger. But
Yeah, yeah. Regarding agent of JD, John is confused about the correlation versus causation. We need proof, not I think, or the statement helps JD. But Chris, I think you're forgetting one thing. The standard is it more likely than not? And is it more likely than not than JD is in a room with his attorney who's making these alleged statements to the Daily Mail? Is he acting as his agent?
you can make a much more complex legal argument on the difference between detour and frolic and what is actually supporting the mission of the principal, but on the most base level, it is a really, really low bar to say that somebody who's hired by somebody else to advance presumably their interests, it's going to take quite a lot to say that they're acting so far out of the scope when they're working for the person.
Yes, 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 yes. It's in that moment too. It's especially. It's just. It's a hard thing to say. But I can see a jury saying that he's not. That he didn't. But I just think for me, I would say in that instance he's his agent. But I think they still lose because I think the statements are true anyway.
Well, yeah, and I would also agree with you. I think the defense did a garbage job of pressing that point, but because obviously we have plenty of people here who are genuinely concerned about what is an extremely technical legal question.
Yeah. The Law Patrol says I don't disagree that he was JD's agent. I do, however, beloved that making the statements were out of the scope of his agency.
Okay.
Good point. I'd also be pushing hard for it being personal opinion. It's possible, but it's hard when he's in the room saying it with his client right next to him in furtherance of the client. That's a hard thing to sell.
It's a defense. It's just a tight one.
Yeah. Minimise Jane says, I love that you're covering this trial. Thank you so much for sharing your knowledge. Happy Memorial Day, Nate. Thank you. Happy Memorial Day to you guys. And happy Memorial Day for everybody celebrating, to all our wonderful vets out there. It's amazing what you guys do. I don't think we have enough days for them. But the two that we do have, Veterans and Memorial, thank you guys for your service. Now, I'm only going to be reading a couple of more super chats because I have a hard deadline right now that I got to get out of here. So I'm going to just pick out some of these last questions. Zamara says the discussion of the technical aspects of hoax seem too complicated to put in front of the jury without refinement. Thank you, Nate, for giving it back to the jury. No problem. This was fun. I actually enjoyed this. I thought it was going to be a lot of work, but it's pretty good. Thanks. This was a great idea. Thanks. Well, you know what? It's the reason why I did it this way is because most people are like, what does how is it to be a juror? But just going over those questions, you see how you guys took it seriously and denied Johnny Depp 2 claims, which is fascinating of itself. You guys aren't in the jury room, but took this serious enough to say, well, I'm denying him these 2 claims, and we're going to give him just this 1 claim. So even, so the system does work. And that's what John was saying earlier. The system does work. It may not be perfect, but it's good enough where I think people, when we're asked the question, if you're going to be honest, you'll say, well, this is kind of how we do. And again, I know most of you guys are pro Depp, but that didn't matter to deny him those claims because it's about evidence. And I want to, again, thank everyone for the generous super chats before I die here. I'm trying to make sure I survive.
Please
But again,
don't.
thank you. Thank you guys for the generous super chats. I actually have a hard deadline because I have something I have to do like as of right now. But thanks again for stopping by. Thanks again for watching. Thanks again for participating in this. And this was a lot. This was a long stream, a stream longer than I thought it was going to be. But hopefully it was informative. Thank you to my guests, Rob, Law and Lumber. Before I choke to death, he gave us some great insight. Thank you, John, who comes on all the time at all these different times and backs me up and goes through all this stuff and gives such great nuanced legal.
It's
Thoughts.
always a lot of fun,
So
and
amazing.
I hope people just enjoy it.
Thanks to my brother Uncivil Lord too. Don't forget to subscribe to him. He's trying to push 100K. And this is the last super chat of the night, people. This case is so unique. This jury is reviewing a case that has been seen that has never been seen before. No prior precedent can be applied here. I disagree with you.
Yeah,
if you guys
I don't
really
know if
think
I
about
agree
it,
on that one.
I'm going to make this one point. Think about this, people. The two most the two most famous cases. One in this generation was Johnny Depp, and I think in the previous generation, which I consider my generation when I was in high school, was OJ. And they're about 30, 40 years apart. 30 years apart. And I want people to really realize this one point before we go. Both of those cases were quintessential domestic violence cases. OJ, remember they had the whole tape. He was a domestic abuser. He was a wife beater. OJ beat his wife, and eventually, you had the murder, which I believe he killed her. But you had that, and that was essentially a domestic violence criminal case, and he lost civilly. He lost civilly in that case. And this Johnny Depp case is the same exact thing. It's another domestic violence case, but now just in the civil context. So it's fascinating how the two most famous cases in past history, the past 50 years, both involve domestic violence. And I think that shows something about our society because as far as we've come,
Yes,
we're still in the same place.
But it also says that we take those sorts of incidents very, very seriously in our civil society, and as a legal community, we take those sorts of behaviors very seriously as well. We haven't solved it, but we are taking it more seriously than, I hate to say it, but the junkie that dies on the street. It just there is a different. I don't know. There's just something qualitatively different about those sorts of cases that I think speaks well of what we're trying to do. We're just not there yet.
Yeah, OJ lost the civil case, and it's interesting because when you just look at the two underlying, because I'm looking at the chat, I think a couple of people were arguing about the comparison. The comparison is not about the facts, right? OJ was a knife murder, and this is a personal, domestic violence, internal domestic violence in a civil manner. What we're saying is that both cases are fundamental domestic violence cases. I don't think there's anyone who knows the OJ case will not say that case was not. They played his wife's 911 call when she was like, he's trying to kill me in the court, right? In that case. The cops came, she was beat up. She was a domestic violence victim. The same thing here with Johnny Depp, except Johnny Depp's a male. The same thing with him. So both cases, I think, were fundamentally that, but just, went in two different directions. One is criminal, one's civil. But it's just fascinating how the law develops in this area, but how, at the end of the day, domestic violence was still in the forefront of this. But with that said,
I agree.
I really appreciate everybody. I really appreciate the generous super chats. But we got to get out of here. My name is Nate the Lawyer, and I'm going to see you next time.
Peace.